Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Friday.
Hey-o.
And it's a great Friday because tomorrow's game day. We don't have to wait,
That's true.
48 hours to get to it.
We'll have the post game starting at the 2-minute warning tomorrow.
Right. You back
I'm
again?
back.
Back in the saddle.
Somebody said that the Bengals ain't playing this week, so he pulled back on the post game.
We understand.
Yeah.
We understand.
We know how it goes.
A chair is empty. 2 chairs are empty, actually. Brad had some mayoral business to tend to.
Yeah, he'll be
he's
here
gonna
shortly.
Be here in about 15 minutes.
No, he should be here even
maybe
sooner.
less.
He called us
even sooner?
at 10:54. He was
I just
on his
seen
way
him pull
in.
it up.
Great. Oh, he's in.
Yeah.
So he'll be here momentarily. Hard to slide a 7-foot guy into the set without saying something. So
that's
he'll be
true.
adding to the panel here shortly. And the Gopher is here for Polk. Polk's going to be here later. I understand Polk has a really interesting segment for us today.
Looking forward to this.
Yeah, that's a tease. That's a tease. Longtime Cleveland Browns fans and Christmas fans. Isn't that everybody?
Yeah.
You'll want to see the Mike Polk segment, which is coming up later in today's Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Busy show. We're going to go through the Browns. We have Leroy Horde on, and we're going to do our pre-written headlines. But before we dive into our Browns content, our Browns talk on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is brought to you by...
Let me get to it. There you go, Tri-C, baby.
Yeah.
How about Cuyahoga Community College? That's one of the hardest words to pronounce as a
Cuyahoga.
Ohio.
Cuyahoga. Yeah.
All right. Well, how about this? Browns Talk, sponsored by Cuyahoga Community College. Tri-C
Well
supports
done.
their students financially, professionally, and personally, and opens up doors of endless possibilities. Tri-C is where the future starts, and guess what? It starts right now. Classes begin January 17th, 2023. Tri-C, the school for you and me.
I'm going to do a magic act now, where once there was an empty chair, poof,
All of a sudden, what's up, Brad?
a 7-footer dropped
All of a sudden,
in.
my IFB is not working. I don't know what happened.
Did it come unplugged in the back from the earpiece? Is
I don't
that
think
possible?
so.
It looks like it's still intact.
It may have come undone when
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was working when we were hearing the music, and then
All
all
right,
of a sudden,
we'll work on it because I think.
Well, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I'm just hearing like some
Hold on.
static now.
You're in static.
Did they hit me too? Like I thought. Like
I'm good.
I don't know what happened.
All right.
Like just stopped working.
Say something.
Anthony and Earl are out, so I'm actually going to come from behind here
Yeah.
and help you guys. We don't have any other hands. It's
Yeah, I don't know
just me
what's
today.
going on. I don't know what happened.
So when
I
you
don't
see
got
me
nothing.
doing this, I'm going to come
Yeah, I
help you
don't know.
guys. Give me 1 sec. But
It was
right.
working the whole lead up. Anyway.
IFB Gremlins. Okay,
By
we
the
got
way,
that out of the way.
Jay, before we get into anything else, I need to ask you all a question.
Shoot.
Who is worse? The guy, I'll just say guy, but it could be a woman too, it doesn't matter.
The person.
The person, yeah, that's better. The person who drives slow in the left lane or the person who drives fast in the right lane?
Slow in the left
slow
lane.
in the left.
We're all saying slow. Brad, you with that too? Slow in the left?
Slow on the left.
Slow in the
It
left?
drives me nuts.
That's more egregious?
Yeah, like there's rules and regulations for that.
If you're going to go below the speed limit,
Yeah.
just get out of the left lane.
Yeah.
That's common
Now,
courtesy.
I would agree with that. I don't like the person that goes fast in the right lane.
I don't like that
If
person
I'm in the
either.
right lane, I'm there for a reason. I
Right,
should
sure.
be able to go slower
No,
there.
I'm totally with
But
you
I'm
on
on 90 today, just before Progressive Field,
that. Yeah.
and I go into the left lane, and there's a guy doing like 55.
Yeah,
And I'm
there's a
like,
creeper.
what are you doing?
Yeah, I
and
know.
I'm not one of these people. I'm not going to tailgate you. That's dangerous.
Sure.
I'm not pulling up. But, like, come on. Let's
Yeah.
go.
You can hit the
Keep it
brakes
moving.
once or twice. That's
The
okay.
guy eventually moved, but it was inappropriate.
Can we throw in the people that's in the carpool lane with just one person?
You
Well,
must be out of state.
Yeah, that doesn't happen
really
here
have-
much, but
unless you're on 80, right? Is it
DC
happen on 80?
happens.
Yeah, I didn't know nothing about that rule. I lived
Yeah.
in Charlotte after school. I knew nothing about it, and randomly, people was giving me this like evil look.
yeah, they must have an HOV lane, or
Yeah.
a multiple occupancy
Yeah.
vehicle.
Yeah.
MOV.
I had to deal with that a lot. If you lived, if you drive through Staten Island, going from like New Jersey to
Yes,
Brooklyn,
and they'll ticket you.
yes,
They will ticket you.
Yes.
When I go up there to see Cheyenne, you in Maryland,
Yeah.
They got the HOV lane.
Yeah.
You don't mess around there.
Until you get to after 3 o'clock or whatever time.
Yeah,
they
there's
have to-
hours that you
Right.
can do. Usually in morning rush and evening rush. If you're solo,
Right.
you got to stay out of that lane. I think the logo is like a diamond.
Yeah.
And it was funny. My parents lived in Arizona after my father retired, and the traffic in Phoenix is absolutely bonkers. It's just it's nuts.
It's gotten worse now because it's the
Yeah.
population growth.
Yeah, far worse.
Yeah.
But the 101, the 201, they are 202. They have HOV lanes, high occupancy vehicle lanes, and people to save time in the morning because it takes about an hour and 15 to go anywhere in Phoenix in the morning. They were putting mannequins in the passenger seat, hats on them and sunglasses on them, and cops were giving them a ticket for that too.
Man, I didn't know what it was because I was from here,
Right.
and I'm like,
Yeah, we don't have that here.
why is
Here.
everybody this lane?
Yeah, we don't
over
have it
here is
anywhere here.
available?
Not even on 80.
I don't think we have it in
I'm gonna give you another
Ohio.
one.
The
You
Turnpike doesn't have it.
You be careful when you go into Maryland, Tricky. You got to be careful, right? So they'll have on the car, on the highway, it looked like a car is broken. A white SUV is broken down on the side of the highway, hood up. You know, if you're coming from the backside,
Yeah.
you're like, car is broken down.
Yeah.
Well, you get to the front of the car, they got the speed camera on you.
Yeah.
With the gun.
Oh yeah, gunning you, and you'll know it when you get the ticket in the mail.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Is that lawful?
What is this?
That's crazy. But the
lawful?
ticket in the mail is better than getting pulled over because at least you don't get points on your license.
That's exactly right.
You know,
I
No,
feel
the
like
speed traps are the biggest load of horse crap in the history of America.
I still
Yeah.
can't hear Mike when he's talking. Like when you talk to us.
G, can you hear me?
no.
No,
Brad.
I'm still getting the static.
I can.
Jay.
Yeah, I got you fine.
So weird.
That's crazy.
I don't know
Must have
what's
something
going on.
happened to two.
That's why I say in
Jay's
Cleveland,
on one.
This might be an issue when we have Leroy on. Just
people
throwing
here
it
in
out there.
Cleveland have no idea how nice it is here not to be
Without traffic.
stuck in
No,
traffic.
you're and Bull talked about that last
It
week.
is if you've lived anywhere else as you have, as I have, as you have,
It's a nightmare.
It is, you know.
And traffic here, I laugh when people
Yeah,
talk about,
like,
complain about traffic. I'm
you
like,
complaining?
this is not traffic.
yeah,
okay?
they say like
This is slow down.
I sat in traffic. I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, I know. It's nice that you thought you sat in traffic, but I'll tell you traffic. Well, I grew up in Sandusky, and I used to think the Cedar Point traffic was miserable.
yeah.
We all complained about, the traffic. And then I moved away, and I'm
Right.
like, that's funny that I thought that was traffic.
That's like the Geauga Lake traffic in
Yeah,
Aurora.
You know what it teaches
Gridlock.
you? You can't ride dirty. You say, what does that mean, G. Bush? You can't be riding with under a quarter tank of gas.
Oh no.
No, because you never know.
I would find out the hard. I said, I'm good. I got like that little quarter tank. I'll get me some gas over
what it
here.
is.
Man, I was in that traffic for dang near an hour, and this is before your car start and stop.
Yeah, and so the gas gauge is going down and down and down.
And I'm looking around like, how the heck, if I run out of traffic, they're going to be mad as hell behind me if I run out of gas.
Yeah, that's going to be real nice for
You got to have all the gas. You can't be playing around.
How many people here? Because you take things for granted here in Cleveland, right? How many times you been caught in a car with 7 miles to empty?
yeah,
Many
sure.
times.
7 miles.
I don't
And you're
typically
like,
look at my
where's the
gas gauge.
station?
I'll be looking by that.
Putting it on the GPS, where's the closest gas station?
One time when I was like, I must have been like 19, 20, I was pushing it. I had to push my car. My friend and I had
ran
to
out
push my
once.
car like a couple of blocks.
Yeah.
We ran out of
I ran
gas.
out of gas once.
Shoot, what you mean? I'm a young dude. Back when you try and get in the game, what you know about McNuggets, you got to know about this. They was paying you in McDonald's and cookies and
What,
and-
HOV? I've missed what this whole
Oh, I hear Mike
conversation-
now.
Yeah, we got
There we go.
you.
Hold on, we're
you
about
go.
to do a mic check.
Whatever
IFB
you
check.
did, you fixed it.
I did, and this mic check is IFB check. By the way, we pull the curtains back on UCSS.
Yes.
It's brought to us by Cleveland Whiskey.
Yeah.
IFB check. It's brought to us by
Nice.
Cleveland Whiskey. Cleveland Whiskey's Christmas bourbon is available now. Visit your local liquor store to take them home today. Whiskey without limits. Please drink responsibly. Steve, when you can we get to a wide shot just to confirm this is working? All right, guys, I'm about to go on IFB. Raise your hand if you can actually hear me. You're all on channel 1.
We're all good.
No, I'm going to go on the IFB system
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Jay's usually on channel 1. Everyone else usually on channel 2. You guys are all on channel 1 now. So when I'm talking to one of y'all, you guys are all here. Raise your hand if you hear this.
There you
That's
go.
how you problem solve issues on the air.
There it
by
is,
yourself.
Mikey.
Producer, audio tech.
Fix
Let's
it.
do it.
Assistant producer. We got no Anthony today, no Earl today.
Cooking. What I was gonna tell you, Mike, is when you young, you trying to get in this game. Hey, you got to make business decisions sometimes. You like, listen, I got about a 20.
Yeah.
It's these. I could put 15 in, and go get me 2 McDoubles.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want no drink. I'm going to just get the water and a value fry.
Oh, I've been there.
Stretching that buck.
Stretch that 20.
Stop that. Who's been at the gas station? This is a Cleveland thing. This is a real Cleveland thing. Go to the gas station and somebody walk in and say, "Give me $3."
Oh, I've heard it. I've heard it. I've seen
What?
people pay. I've
Where
seen
you
people
going?
paying
Around the
change.
Change.
Yep, with a little jar. Like
hold
they're taking
on.
quarters and dimes and nickels, and I'm like, man,
Man,
I feel
change.
so.
I'm like,
What
oh.
you mean? And if it's, I don't feel ashamed if it's silver. If it's silver, I'm good. Like
Copper, you're not playing.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't.
Yeah,
the copper
no.
pennies got all
Pennies
kind
should
of
be
lint on
banned,
them.
by the way.
I
We should
agree.
ban pennies.
Do you know, and this has been the case for many years, we lose money printing pennies.
Why do we print
The
pennies?
value of one, it costs more
More
than
to print
1
than-
penny in copper
Yeah.
to print a penny.
We should give everybody in America like 6 months to cash in all their pennies.
Yeah.
And then pennies. In fact, if we're up to me, there'd be nothing below a quarter
You
anymore.
can't buy anything for a penny anymore.
This
Yeah,
is
no, nothing.
This
Penny-
is
penny
UC.
candy.
This should be UCSS investigative journalism. We should be going on the street and we should ask. We feel currency is outdated and no one has it.
Yeah.
Do you have in your wallet $20?
I do.
And see how many people
But
have a 20.
I don't. Sometimes I don't.
That's
Plenty
like
of
my
times I don't.
emergency $20.
Yeah.
But I
almost
carry
never use cash.
Never.
Never.
When I worked at the radio station, I kept cash because the store downstairs,
Yeah.
I would pay them in cash.
Yeah.
But now when I don't go there, I almost never use cash.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I go to a restaurant, I like to give the waiter or waitress a tip in cash.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
This way I don't have to get taxed on it.
All right, we're going to dive into our Browns talk.
Get to it.
It's official. I think it's official. Huntley's going to start, unless they're playing games.
Beneficial.
The Huntley's going to start a quarterback for the Ravens tomorrow.
Which is weird, by the way.
Why?
How do you get cleared from the concussion
Yeah,
protocol
I thought that too.
this quick?
Yeah, I thought because it's almost always the game that you're pulled from and at least one more.
Especially because
Almost
it's a
always.
short week.
I know.
I know it's one day, but
I was
it's a short
surprised that he was cleared.
week. But yeah, he
you
practiced in full yesterday.
You take him at their word.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw 3 facts at you guys and ask you a question to follow. They're down to their backup quarterback, no Lamar Jackson, and he's the reason you would fear the Ravens offense.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got Huntley at quarterback. It's a home game, and it is the 3rd start for Deshaun Watson. Is there any excuse at all why the Browns should lose this game tomorrow?
No.
No.
Bull?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is. You're only a 3-point favorite. The excuse is the Browns aren't that good right now.
Yeah.
I expect
they're
them to
just
win.
not a better team than Baltimore.
I mean, no.
The
they're
record says they're drastically not as good.
Certainly, Vegas is telling you that they're even on a neutral field
Right.
with Tyler Huntley. If Lamar were playing, the Ravens would be favored in this game.
Easily.
Probably by 3 points.
Yeah.
So instead, the Browns are favored by 3 points because it's Huntley. But I'm expecting the Browns to win. But in a 3-point game, guys, I can't, I can't say there's no excuse for them to lose.
Go ahead.
This is what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
Here, I'm expecting the Browns to play competitive football tomorrow. I'm also expecting this. I'm expecting Watson to be better, right? This is where I am. I'm out of this year. I'm gone. This is done. I'm looking for things for next year. What can I salvage here? And the salvage is here, the prep work. You have to get him back to a level. You paid him $230 million.
Right.
I was like, so he's got to play like a $230 million person, but there's steps and layers here. So I don't hear nothing about nobody else coming in the game. Nope. You taking all the snaps. You getting all this work because I'm playing for next August when we start here. When we come to camp in July here, you're going to be rolling. Here, you're not going home for the summer. Don't think you're going home.
Well,
Because
there
that's
are
how it used to be,
CBA
G. The pros used to hold you hostage.
But,
Hey.
I couldn't
there are
leave
CBA,
Chicago.
But
They
there are
like-
CBA rules that they have to adhere
The
to.
problem here.
I like that.
This should be in Watson, right?
Sure, you're
this
paying.
this should be in Watson.
Right.
Right, because it used to be they would hold you. So then they came with this new CBA. They can't hold you.
I think home is here now. He bought that massive
No,
mansion.
but you got houses everywhere. $230 million. You have houses everywhere, right?
true.
So the
You want
thing-
him here.
He has to do the work.
I'm with you
Put
on
in the
that.
work, right?
Yeah.
And I know he will because
That's not unrealistic, is it, guys?
What, to expect him to live here in the offseason?
And be at the facility every day.
I mean, Yes,
If you're making that kind of money, report to work every day.
I mean, listen, I'm fine. You go on vacation a couple of
Yeah, you
weeks.
can
That's
still go on
fine.
vacation.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
But I don't
mean,
want to see him disappear for 4 months.
No, and he needs to be here for every day of OTAs and every,
Absolutely.
like we always talk every year, like when the superstars and they come in OTAs.
Right.
He needs to get every bit of coaching and practice he can possibly get. I don't think there's any doubt about
this guy, if he don't, man, if he's not top 5, they in trouble. They in real trouble if he's not. He playing like a top 5 quarterback next year. Because to me, they got a lot of holes, man. They got extremely and I don't think people gonna see it until we get to them OTAs, and then you start being like, oh, so and so ain't playing.
Oh, we see it now.
So and so ain't getting no contract. We can't really bring this dude back. And as constituted with this offense, and I'm looking at the defensive tackle room. Man, they got to get me some receivers, man. They got to get me. It takes them entirely too long to get going. I watched Coach Prime the other day. He said we need some dogs. Yeah. We need some dogs. Yeah. You know, we need some dudes to come in here and say, listen, you was playing last year, David Bell. You're not playing this year,
right? Because
that's the mentality you need.
That's how you keep people honest.
I mean, we've been saying that all year.
They got 3 good pass catchers.
No.
I need one more, but
But we want them. I need somebody coming in saying
our receiver core is so woefully behind the Bengals. Now they're the standard in my mind. I think the Bengals have one of the best receiving cores in football. I just feel like, to your point, G, and there's a lot of areas. I mean, look at the linebacker core. Look at the middle of the defensive line. You can't address all of them.
I think those are much bigger issues than wide receiver.
I think they're bigger issues, but I also think that you're the one that says it. This is a passing league. You went out and you got an all-pro quarterback. Why'd you get an all-pro quarterback who doesn't have targets to throw
have
to?
C++
Burrow is Burrow because he has 3 targets.
They're not C+. They're better than that.
Well,
I'm not sure they are.
The Bengals are the extreme. They're one of the top 1 or 2 wide receiving cores in the league.
But here's the
But
thing.
there's a huge gap between them and us.
The Browns are just as good, if not better, than the Steelers, and they're better than the Ravens at wide receivers. So
this is what I say. I say this, right? And I kind of agree with Bull. I can't really say what I have until he starts slinging that ball like he's supposed to.
Right, that's true.
Right.
I mean,
So-
And hopefully we'll find that out the next 4 games.
DPJ's going to have 1,000 yards probably this year.
I'm
that's
gonna
pretty good.
get back to this. I will say this though, Bull. I'll say this. We need a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
And the top dog in the building is the highest paid player. You're the top dog in the building. But if you set the tone that you come in here every day to work, the rest of them are going to come in here to work because you're going to be forced to follow the lead, right?
No doubt.
I don't want to know nothing about the Bahamas. I went down here to Atlantis. I want nothing about that. You can go, but I need you to show up at work because that's going to drive the others here. And then, you cannot be satisfied with this season. You cannot be like, okay, what if? Like,
Did you hear the Myles Garrett comment yesterday about making the playoffs?
What did he say?
It was kind of interesting.
We
He asked about making the playoffs, and I think the question insinuated that, that ship has sailed. Mm-hmm. And he actually went there. He actually said, no, our chances aren't gone. We have a better chance. This was the bad analogy. We have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Jets had coming back from 2 touchdowns down with 2 minutes to go to win.
Is that true? I'm not 100%
sure.
Yeah,
it is true. Yeah,
the Browns
we have a 0.4
chance,
and it was a 99.9% chance the Browns were going to win.
Yeah, that was not the best example. But
no, I wish he hadn't gone there.
That was
that was the turning point of the season for me.
That was the first time that happened in 20 years.
The last time to do it, Tim Couch and the Browns.
Right. So
the Bears did it.
So
came back.
Does he really believe that?
I mean, good for him. He still. I like that he has the attitude that they can still make it. He should.
No, I like the attitude where I got some holes here. He has some juice here. We all got to get on the same page here. That's what we have to be.
A team should always play until they're officially eliminated. You should always have the mindset that you still got a chance.
I wish
no
there
matter
were,
how
I wish there were
unrealistic
more
it is.
urgency all season long.
After McNuggets comments, they have no. I'll tell you why they have no chance.
Go ahead.
Well, we know they have no chance.
While we're talking about Myles Garrett, we did get a super chat that was directly about Myles Garrett. So I want to just ask this while we're talking about it. It's from Wood Dog MTG. He says, "Merry Christmas, guys. Are you worried that Myles is going to ask for a trade this offseason? And should the Browns try to trade Denzel Ward this offseason?" So 2-part question, but are you worried that Myles might
I
ask
would
for a
cut
trade.
bait with Ward if they could. I don't think he's tradable.
You
His
can't
contract's
trade
too
Ward.
big.
Not movable.
His contract is
I'm not
too big.
trading Ward because his value is down. Even if you could trade him, you wouldn't get good value
Yeah,
for him.
that's why he's just not tradable.
I'm going to assume he's going to bounce back next year because his first few years in the league, he was very good.
If the Browns are terrible the last 4 games, Myles Garrett could ask for a trade.
I'm afraid Nick Chubb too. I mean, if you're these guys, you're looking at the hourglass, and there may be, for both of these guys, and this is scary to think,
Shrinking.
there may be as much sand in the top now as there is in the bottom. If you look at longevity and how long these players at that position play.
Yeah.
For both of them, there may be more sand in the bottom of the glass than there is in the top.
There's always
and
a
if I'm either one
yeah.
of those guys, I'm well aware of what happened to Joe Thomas here. The last thing you want to do is retire at your position as one of the best to ever play it. And I think both Myles and Chubb are on that trajectory,
Sure.
And it just,
as Joe Thomas was. The last thing you want to do, if you're Garrett or if you're Chubb, is to play your whole career in relative anonymity.
Yeah.
And have one playoff game to your resume.
Joe Thomas never got to play with Deshaun Watson. If next, listen, who knows? Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett, but especially Nick Chubb, doesn't seem like the type of guy that would ask for a trade.
No.
You never know. Obviously, I don't know him personally. This was my impression from what I know of him. But any player on a team that has a bad season, you could make an argument would want to be traded.
Especially now, players have forced their way out of situations.
They have at times. But
Much
Kareem Hunt
more
wanted to be
now.
traded, and the Browns didn't trade him.
Well, he had no leverage.
He don't have to
Right.
He
was
had no
starting
leverage
back.
whatsoever.
After what I heard yesterday, nothing would be off the table for me, because
The guys that can do it are the guys that already have generational money.
we sit here and talk.
They're not
about,
going to miss a year.
all the time. We talk about guys are there for a reason, or guys are going to get better, or guys are going to do this, and I'm not about to sit here in the prime of my career and wait for you to figure it out. The reality of it is, when they said them comments yesterday, it showed
Talk about the defensive backs coach.
the
you're
difference.
talking about.
When a defensive backs coach, and that thing blew up on
Passing
Twitter.
game
everywhere.
coordinator. The
But
defensive passing
if
game
that
coordinator.
is your passing game coordinator, and he says something dumb like that, and he had and
For those that weren't watching yesterday, repeat the comment.
his
Paraphrase it. Or Bull, if you want, read the quote.
I'll get it.
He
Do
got
you
it.
have it? Here we go. Do you have the other one, Mike? The one with the exact quote?
Yeah, because this was a little bit.
Give me a sec.
Because I think I have it.
Essentially, the Browns passing game coordinator, Jeff Howard, said they just weren't prepared for Higgins and Boyd to go out of the
Here's
game
the
with
exact
injury.
quote, guys. We were planning for all three of them.
Brad didn't see that yesterday.
Yeah, I know, Brad. Buckle up, Brad.
He said we were planning for all three of them. He was talking about Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins.
Get my face.
And
Come on over my face.
then after one series, two of them tap out, and the game changes. So it stresses your adaptability, and you really got to feel the game out. We could probably be more aware of when they are in a situation like that. See, that's just crazy.
That's some BS right there.
that you
Brad.
lose two good players, and you're making it seem like things got harder because a team lost two of their best players.
Imagine
This-
someone playing the Bulls and Jordan goes out saying, we just
Joe-
weren't
wait,
ready
no,
to
no,
see
no,
the Bulls
not
without
just
Jordan.
Pippen.
No, it's like Pippen and Horace Grant both went
yes.
out.
Pippen and
Well, that's
Horace Grant.
40% of the team. though.
They're proving my point, right?
Yeah.
These are dudes that have no feel for the game, right?
None.
No feel for the game, right? Because, I got it. We came into the thing with a game plan. We laid it down. This is what we're going to do. We worked on it all week. Well, it changes on the fly. Well, guess what? When it changes on the fly, you have to adapt
And
on
it
the fly.
changed to your
To
benefit.
your benefit. Oh, I don't
And
have
they
to
weren't
check.
ready
I don't
for
have
that.
to check those two. And this dude is the only one hurting me. Oh, you're not even catching the ball today.
We're doubling you the rest of the
would've
game,
hold
which,
it,
by the
hold
way,
it.
they never really
My
did.
two guys would have been on him like here at the line, like, you ain't getting nothing today. Nothing. I'd have been Richard Sherman on him. You know you're sorry.
As a
You
player,
sorry.
Brown should have tripled.
As a player, Brad, when you hear that, as a player, and a coach says something that dumb, as a player, what goes through your mind when you hear that stuff?
Well, you're an idiot, right? Because here, that's just like to Jay's analogy.
lose confidence.
Yeah, look, here's your analogy, Jay. So we scheme for Jordan, right? Jordan out. We only got to worry about Brad Sellers and Jordan. Oh, I got a nice night tonight. I don't have to work like that. It's like, this is not going down. I said, but if your defensive coaches are talking like that, That's the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's a defeatist mentality.
What's the head dude saying?
He co-signed it. And as a matter of fact, he let him come double down. Did he look over that play? Did he look over that game plan? Did he? And if you're the head coach and you're on the sidelines and you see T. Higgins and Boyd and their starting tight end not playing, would you walk over and simply say?
Okay, you touched on a great point that I wanted to make yesterday, and I didn't. It hit me yesterday later, and I was upset. We tend to hold Kevin Stefanski accountable for the offense because that's his background, and he's calling the plays.
He's the CEO.
What we've done here in Cleveland is take him off the hook to a certain degree to the debacle that's been the Browns' defense this year. He oversees that, too.
Complete.
That's under his purview, too. So we're all throwing darts at Woods, and rightfully so. But as the head coach, if you're watching a dumpster fire, you have to grab a fire extinguisher and try to do something about it. And the fact that they couldn't adjust to their number 2 and number 3 receivers being out of the game, and you never saw them say, okay, we're going to double chase, and we're going to make these other guys beat us. They never did that. A high school coach does that.
They doubled him some, but not
much.
Not consistently.
Not enough.
And honestly,
Well, he wouldn't get
in
off
that
the line.
situation, I would have triple teamed Chase. I know that
would've
sounds
too.
crazy.
He would have never got off the line.
I would have said he's not going to catch a ball, but if these other guys beat us, they beat us.
I would have put 2 guys on the line right there and had a safety
Like
behind
his
them.
punt return.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Like
I know
he's
it's
a gunner
crazy.
on punt
In a
return.
way, that's crazy, but like,
No, it ain't.
you got to force those other receivers to beat you the
What
rest
were
of the
his
game.
numbers? He had, 9 catches, 10 catches?
Jamar Chase had 15 targets for 10 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown.
How was that adjustment not made, and how is that not more Kevin Stefanski's fault?
How didn't even see it?
Hey, listen,
He
Kevin
didn't even see it.
Stefanski.
He
Kevin
didn't notice it.
Stefanski's got to get some of the blame, no doubt about it. But there's no excuse. I got no excuse for it.
I just think in the media, in our discussion of what's going on this year, we tend to isolate Kevin with the offense and give him a pass.
Maybe.
we're
On the other
saying
hand,
here-
we seem to give him blame for every time a player screws up
he's
too.
a head coach.
No, but the player's got to get some blame. Like in a situation where it's like the defensive design,
But, Bull,
that's on the coaches.
that's
I agree.
clearly a
I
defensive-
agree. But when a player runs into the kicker, like I can't blame the coach for that.
I'm with you. That's a player mistake. But as far as this issue goes, and we've seen this has been habitual this year. We watched Atlanta with backup running backs gash us for over 10 yards a carry for the second half.
By the way, those
And
backup running backs have really done nothing since
Of course,
that game.
they weren't world beaters. We made them look like world beaters.
Yeah.
We never made the in-game adjustment,
Nope.
and it cost us the game. San Diego, same thing. We game planned all week for them to have Justin Herbert come in here and throw the ball all over the yard.
No.
And you know what? We were really caught off guard when Herbert wasn't throwing the ball. They never made that in-game adjustment. I'm telling you, this is troubling. This is troubling because all the fans see it. Everybody in the stands see it. High school coaches can see it and say, guys, this isn't working. We have to make an adjustment.
Right.
I haven't seen adjustments from Kevin Stefanski.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem for people like Stefanski, right? You're in the heartbeat of football country.
Oh, yeah.
This is Ohio.
Yeah, you're not fooling anybody.
You ain't fooling nobody here. They all know. They've known it from the time of Pee Wee League and high school football and college football. You're not going to fool us here. We know what needs to be done, or we have an idea what needs to be done. And when you don't do certain things, your comment about the player, right? Some of it is on the player, right? That's when a coach usually calls out the player in the paper, right? To signify that you're not getting it done.
Right. We got to be better.
Right. You have to be better, right? You're letting us down, right? It's not behind the doors. It is initially, but when you continue to do it, it's this dude right here.
And if they can't take it,
if you can't do it,
if they can't take it and they ain't tough skin, they don't need to be here then. If you can't get called out in the newspaper and you go in a shell, that's just like when people say, the quarterback, you know what, he's lost his confidence and we need to protect his psyche.
Yeah.
If your psyche is that bad, you can't play game of football.
By the
You
way,
just
guys,
can't.
getting to this game specifically, just one thing I wanted to mention. For those who want a ton of running plays, I don't think the Browns are going to run much this week. The Ravens have the best run defense in the league. Their pass defense is not good. And it's not as bad as it could be because they haven't. When's the last time the Ravens faced a good quarterback? It's been a while.
Yeah.
If you look at the teams they've played for the last month. But if you look at their statistically, best against the run, one of the worst teams against the pass, and I think we all want to see Deshaun Watson kind of air it out. He hasn't really thrown the ball downfield that much. I think we're going to see a lot of that this week.
We have Leroy ready to come on in a second. Before we do that, quick around the horn, 1 to 10 on the fear meter. How much do you fear this Ravens offense with Huntley at quarterback?
4, 5.
4.
7.
I'm a 4.
Yeah.
I'm a 4. There's no reason they should be able to move the ball at will and score.
The Browns have to have 8, 9 guys in the box because they shouldn't be able to throw the ball
all
at
right,
all.
Nuggets.
Before we bring Leroy in, I just want to remind everybody that you can win some signed Leroy Horde memorabilia along with some signed mini helmets and footballs from Tim Couch and DeQuell Jackson. You have to subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page. Head to WKYC.com/contest. There's a landing page to enter. You get a 3-pack of Browns Legends memorabilia. DeQuell, Leroy, Tim. You can't beat it. Perfect holiday present. And with that being said,
who are we taking right now, Leroy or DeQuell in the Oklahoma drill?
let's ask Leroy. What's up, Leroy?
Ooh, wow, that's a good one.
Oh, I ain't folding to nobody. Well, I got something for you, Jay.
What do you got, bro?
Oh, man.
Hold on.
Woo.
Hold on. Let me move.
Hold on,
Wow.
partner. Hold on, partner.
That's crazy.
I give you credit, Leroy.
You got to give him credit for
That's
that
nice,
shirt.
Leroy.
That
That's
is
nice.
a good
But
shirt.
Leroy,
Yeah.
hold on, Leroy.
Salty.
I have to
Big
defend our honor here, Leroy. I want you to get ready here now.
I expect nothing less.
Well, I was talking to somebody in the gym last night about this. Georgia don't even know what's about to hit them. On New Year's Eve, they getting done up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, Brad, don't go there.
They're getting done up.
Hey,
Trust me.
hey,
Guess why?
let me explain something
Yes,
to you.
Take the
You know,
6.5
I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to see you.
Brad, let me say this. I think Ohio State has a better quarterback. I think they have the better skill players.
Line is not even close.
But Georgia is Michigan times 10 up front.
They are.
And
They're gonna
if
kill us.
if you wasn't tough enough to deal with Michigan,
Facts.
Good luck.
It's nothing.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't disagree with you, but the one thing that you're missing out on is the problem that you have encountered for yourself. You stuck that freaking flag in the ground. I'm coming to see you.
hey, that's all right.
Got to be Georgia
Hey.
first, though.
That's a necessary step. I'm coming to see you.
Hey, I'll
He said
be
that for
right
365 days and we
here.
did nothing.
I know. I'm hopeful.
I'll be right here. I ain't going nowhere.
Look,
That is some false confidence from Brad right now.
I know it is.
hey, you know how I
You
know,
keep
Leroy.
False bravado.
You keep looking at Michigan. You better worry about Georgia.
Yeah. By the way,
Don't worry about Michigan right now.
He's got
That's
the
true.
You
scores
can
of the
talk trash.
games on that stupid ass sweatshirt.
That's how lame
After the
they are.
31st, Brad.
What's up?
After the 31st, then you can come holler at me,
All right.
and I'm gonna
That's
be.
true.
We can go
that
back
will
and
be
forth.
amazing.
Oh, because you know that night
they
I'll be
play
on the
each
phone
other.
with you. I'll be texting you or calling you.
Yeah.
All right, Leroy.
I'll be
All right,
waiting.
Leroy.
I'll be waiting.
Wouldn't it be great if they did play each other again for the championship?
Yes.
I mean, that would just be
Yes.
unreal.
I
It would
would
be
love
unreal.
Yes. You know why? Because I got room for another. I got room for another football right down here.
Well, hey, Leroy, okay, you got the last two. We got
Yeah.
sweatshirts filled with scores from the last 15 years. Filled.
That's true. You're 100% correct. I'm not. Look, I own it. I own it that we haven't done well against Ohio State. However, the last 2 years, y'all got to
ass
put on you.
kickings.
I really want to
Yeah.
see this.
Fire Ryan Day.
Beat
I
down.
want to see this in the national championship so bad.
Oh, my God. yes.
Oh, my God.
If y'all can handle it, if
The
y'all
sports
can
world would stop.
handle y'all business, please, on both sides, so I can sit right here and enjoy
Oh.
the carnage.
Dude.
And usually,
Ooh,
hey.
hey.
usually when Ohio State plays Michigan for the last, forever, however long, we only have a couple of days because it's always Thanksgiving weekend,
Yeah, I know.
and there's not a lot
Yeah.
of time to get the hype going. In this case,
Oh, my goodness.
it's going to be,
weeks.
what, 10 days, 12 days, whatever it is? I mean, it's gonna,
Goodness.
Ooh.
I
that's
can't
gonna be
wait.
fun.
Ooh.
I can't wait. What,
How worried
I
are
heard
you?
you guys. I heard you guys talking about the defensive coach or whatever.
Yeah, what do you make of those comments? Leroy?
Did you hear the
Good
quote?
Lord.
I mean, yeah, I heard it. Look, sometimes you have to think about what you're gonna say and not go there. And here's why. I understand what he was trying to say.
Sure.
Right? But the problem is that if you're not a football guy, it sounds pretty damn ridiculous. Right? And here's why. And Brad, you alluded to this. If you lose a good player, that should increase the other team's chances of winning,
Right. That's right.
not make it harder for them.
Yes.
Now, if those other two guys had caught 100 and 130 yards, then you could come in as a man and come in and say, we wasn't letting Nick Chubb beat us. I mean, we wasn't letting Jamar Chase beat us. Right?
Right.
And you can live with that.
But their star beat you.
Right. I mean, 10 catches for 100 yards is not that big of a deal, to be honest with you.
If you do that for a season, you got 1,700 yards receiving. That's
Yeah,
a big
but
deal.
you also gonna have like 170 catches.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So
I mean, he had
Jamar
15
Chase is a
targets,
big
Leroy.
Jamar Chase is a big play guy. If he hasn't really had, he really didn't have a lot of just huge plays.
Right, but he moved the sticks all day.
Right. Which guess what? If you playing Jamar Chase and all he's doing is catching passes in front of you, you live with that. You can live with that. What you can't live with is him catching that 5-yard pass and going 80. That's where you got problems. So, but here's and defensively, I almost liked everything they were doing. They moved the D-line around. They ran some games inside. They gave them some problems. But the penalties, man. The penalties. Like, we sitting here looking at how they did about if at the end of the day, you say, I'm gonna give Jamar Chase 10 catches for 119 yards, you can live with that. Right? But what you can't live with is on 4th down, get a chance to get good field position, and you give them the ball back. Okay? You're playing with fire. And that's what happened most of the time. The free first downs, all of the penalties that back you up offensively. And so when you look at the way the game played out, the schematics of it was fine. It was the generosity of your team to give them free yards that hurt you. And it's been a problem all year. And I don't know what you do about that. I was thinking, I told somebody today, I said, you know what? In all my years of playing football, all of them, I never had a holding penalty, never had a pass interference penalty, had one unsportsmanlike conduct, and I had 2 or 3 false starts.
Tell us about the
That's it.
Wait, we got to know about the unsportsmanlike conduct. What
who got
happened?
under
You
your-
remember
I'll
that
tell
play?
you. Okay.
Yeah.
And this, do I? Yeah. I only
Who
had
am I
one.
talking to? Yeah.
So we were playing Notre Dame at Michigan,
Yeah.
and quarterback threw a pick, and I want to say it's Mike Zordich.
Okay.
Right.
He caught it. It was batted up in there. He caught it. He started running, and I came all the way from the other side of the field, and he was celebrating and woo hoo hoo hoo, and he got to the almost to the white, and I committed. And then he kind of jumped. He jumped out of bounds, and I'm like, oh no, I take this, and I just got him. Sorry, my bad.
He already committed.
Listen, I committed. I committed. Somebody was getting hit. I ran way over there. It came and tried to do a good hustle play, and I get over there. I'm supposed to just stop? No.
You're getting your pound of flesh.
Leroy's still angry about that interception.
Yeah,
like
he
30.
wanted-
Yeah.
How many years later? 35?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but I remember it because it's my only one.
Yeah.
You know, put it this way. I've gone, and because when you get tackled, they try to intimidate you. They mush you. They, twist stuff and stuff like that. So one time I went to an official, and I said, hey, Mr. Official, here's what's happening. If you don't control it, I'm going to do what I got to do. Simple as that. I told him, I have every right to protect myself if you don't.
Wow.
So I've gotten into a couple of situations with that. A guy hit me, I was thinking of a preseason game. He hit me, I was like 5 yards out of bounds. Oh, it's go time. You ain't gonna hurt me like that. We didn't have plenty of time to play football. Football's over to the next play. And so we went at it, and they threw the flag on him. They ain't throwing no flag. And then I walked by the official. I said, I told you, I'm going to do what I got to do.
Who was the player?
You ain't going to – huh?
Do you remember who the other player was?
I don't even remember. I know it was a linebacker. And then after the game, because at the time, Metcalf was playing with the Rams. And after the game, Metcalf came to me and said, my boy say sorry. And I said, well, you tell him, come tell me yourself. We can talk about it. So we dapped up and we was good. Like, I don't never hold, stuff that happens in a football game against a person, right? Because it's football. It's physical. You get mad. You got coaches yelling at you. You got stuff. Sometimes you just get frustrated. So I understand that. So I ain't going, so I didn't, I just said, hey, I did what I had to do at that moment. We done. Game over.
Leroy,
we dapped up. We was good.
As a guy that played thousands of snaps, and had incredible self-discipline to not do the things that were going to bring laundry out. Mm-hmm. You're watching this Browns team, and the penalties are everywhere. And DeQuell was on earlier this week. DeQuell made a great statement, I thought. He said, you can say a lot of things about a lot of the teams he played on, but when his Mangini Browns, he said, we're disciplined. He said, we didn't do that nonsense because he took it back to high school. You jump on a play, you're taking a lap around the field. He's like, I'm a grown-ass man taking a lap. And I asked him, did that work? And he said, hell yeah, it worked.
Yes,
so
it does.
What is going on with a team that is just absolutely not disciplined? You gave up a full-length football field in penalty yards. You're not going to win a game when you do that. Not against a team like that. Not against them. So what's your mindset? How did you keep – I know you're a smart player, but – was it fear of the coach? What's missing on a team that doesn't have that discipline?
I tell you what drove me to play good football and play hard and do those things is that I never wanted to go in a huddle and have people look at me and go, "You're the reason why."
So peer pressure, really.
But it's that brethren that you have with the other guys on the team that you don't want to let them down, and so from that standpoint, and I'll tell you this, one of the reasons why I started playing was because of the guys in the huddle, not the coaches,
right?
Because they said, hey, this guy plays hard. We need to run the ball with him, and Tony Jones and a couple of linemen went to Bill Belichick and actually told him that, and so I started playing. So imagine having that on you.
Yeah.
The guys that got you in the game.
Yeah.
And the guys that supported you and the guys
You're not going to let them down.
Correct.
Right. And this has been a consistent problem with the Browns with Stefanski.
But can I tell you why this is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Kevin Stefanski is a CEO. He is not an offensive coordinator. He is now the CEO.
Right.
So that means that in some way, shape, or form, his imprint should be on the whole team with how you do things, how you prepare for games, how you go about even your pregame warm-ups and stuff like that. That is your staple on this franchise.
Right.
So when you have guys that are talking about the Browns and they're talking about a bunch of circumstances surrounding the Browns that Kevin Stefanski has nothing to do with, that's nonsense. That's nonsense.
It all trickles back to him.
I'll tell you this. I used to always, I tell this to people all the time. Denny Green was a head coach. I don't know if he was an offensive coach or a defensive coach coming up. I just knew him as the head coach.
Wow.
And during the course of a game, he would hit a switch. He'd be listening to the defensive calls. Hit a switch, listen to the offensive calls. And periodically, I would hear him say, let's take a shot with Randy. Periodically, he would say, let's establish the run. Periodically, I would hear him say, hey, we ain't covering them. Let's get some more pressure.
That's what I
And
heard.
all of the coaches that worked beneath him
Had a reaction.
knew what that meant.
Right.
But he had an overall picture of how the game was going, what needed to be done, because he was the head coach.
Do you feel we have that here?
You can't do that with that sheet in your hand.
No, because I don't think Kevin Stefanski has enough of a grip on what's going on with the defense.
I would agree.
And
with
so I don't know if he can necessarily even at this point hit that switch and say, hey, let's do this or that. Now, I don't know. It could be happening.
Yeah, we don't
But
know.
I know if it was happening, that defensive back coach wouldn't have said what he said.
And you'd be seeing adjustments. When everybody in the building knows that one particular thing is killing you, it's up to the head coach to at least
To tell him, hey, what are we doing about this? Let's
like
get something
Denny
on somebody
might say.
on this.
Like Denny
Right.
might say, hey, guys,
Right.
enough with this run. Do what you need to do,
Right.
but button it up. Last night I was watching the Niners-Seahawks game,
Right.
and Kirk Herbstreit said something that was fascinating during the game. He said, they were talking about the San Francisco 49ers
Was it fascinating
defense,
because he went to Ohio State?
and he's a really smart guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. But keep going,
No, I
Jack.
love Kirk's insight. I love his insight. And he said something that
You know
really
what?
struck a chord with me, Leroy, because he said they were talking about the dominance of the 49ers defense. And he was talking about, of course they have good players. Of course they have a good scheme. But the thing that jumps off the tape when you watch the 49ers is that it appears every single player is running at 100% maximum motor on every play. And in the conversation with Al, he said, why is that happening? The reason that's happening is there are guys on that defense that will not tolerate anything less than that out of anybody. And I don't know who that guy is on the Browns.
I think for so long, you have a lot of players on this team that have been in survival mode.
Right.
And that is survive the coach, survive the ownership, survive the circumstances in which you play the game. I think if they get into a situation, and we've seen it, where they're having success and everybody gets comfortable and then they start doing it at a level that warrants excellence, you could see it. We go back a couple of years. We wasn't having these conversations about the defense. Wasn't having these conversations about, we're getting gashed by the defense. Because everybody knew, and credit to who's the defense coordinator at the
Joe
time?
Woods.
No, not Joe Woods.
Well,
Was it
2 years ago was.
before that? When they
Greg
before
Williams.
they Greg Williams.
Yeah.
Greg Williams. If
He's
you
a name
ask
I keep
anybody,
hearing.
if you ask anybody that has played for Greg Williams, the one staple of what he does and how he does it is the mindset in which the guys go about doing their job. Right? There's a lot of coaches like that.
It's always been
It's
attached
like-
to him. Always.
You can get away with not being good enough if you know what to do and how to do it. And if you don't do it that way, now we got to rely on your ability to be more talented than the other guys you're playing against.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that what has happened defensively is not necessarily schematic. But how they go about doing it? How they go about, because guess what? I hate to say this. Stopping the run is about attitude. Running the football is about attitude.
It is a mindset.
You're going to be confronted if you running the football by somebody. And that's why we all love Nick Chubb. And that's why we get mad when Kevin Stefanski doesn't commit to the run. For this reason. Yeah, they got too many guys to block. So what? You got Nick Chubb. You got Kareem Hunt.
You're right.
But that's going to change. Hey, Leroy.
We've had time. Listen, we've had times where Bill Belichick was so sick of seeing 3-and-outs. He would walk over to the offense and say, buckle your chin strap, we running the ball. Because one of the things running the ball does is it gives your damn defense a break. And as a defensive coach, he looking at his defense going, damn, every 3 plays, they back on the field.
Yeah. Well, Leroy, you're going to be upset this week because the Ravens have the best run defense in the NFL. They have a bad pass defense. Browns haven't been running the ball well the last few weeks. The offensive line struggling a little bit. I think they're going to throw the ball a ton with Deshaun Watson. Are you going to be miserable watching that?
Nope, because guess what you do?
Yeah.
I don't care how good they are running
I'm
the
telling you,
football.
you can say whatever you want. I bet you they're 60% pass
here.
at least this week.
Browns have Nick Chubb.
Bull.
Agreed.
Bull.
I'm
You told
telling
me
you.
earlier this year, no one can stop it.
I'm telling you
Bull.
what they're going to do.
Bull.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bull.
I'm telling you they're going to throw the ball.
Your identity is running the football. It all starts and ends with running the football. I don't care if you end up throwing it 40 times. I don't care if you throw it 60 times. But guess what? It's going to start with the run. You can't do that to your offensive line. The easiest thing for offensive line to do is be aggressive and block going downhill. You have to do that. If you don't, if you get too cute, if you try to throw the ball too much, you're going to have the same results you had last week. It's simple as that. And guess what? This is who they are.
They tried to run it a
This
ton
is
last
who
week. It
they
didn't work.
are. So,
Hey, Leroy, let me ask you a question.
so what?
Leroy, let me
No, I'm
ask you.
just saying, like, in the long run, you do have Deshaun Watson, and if they're going to win, it's going to be because of the passing game. It's a passing league now, Leroy.
Who's the most important player on that offense?
Deshaun Watson.
No, he's not.
100% is.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Browns are you can't win the Super Bowl anymore without a great quarterback.
Wait, I said this in the beginning. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can San Francisco win the Super Bowl?
No.
Why not?
I think they can.
Why
Okay.
not?
Well, they haven't
Why
yet.
not?
They haven't. Let's say.
Why
We'll
not?
say. We'll find out. They don't have a good enough
Is
quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers one of the greatest quarterbacks you've ever seen?
Not this year.
No, bull.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going, and you're trying to avoid the
I'm not.
the inevitable. You're trying to avoid the inevitable.
Leroy, for
Is
the past. Wait,
Aaron
hold on.
Is Aaron Rodgers one of the
For
greatest
past-
quarterbacks have you
For
ever
the past 10, where are the great running backs that have been winning Super Bowls? It's all been great quarterbacks.
It's not great running back.
Yeah.
It's a great team that runs the football.
Yeah, but they don't. Last year, none of the Final Four teams were good running teams.
Okay.
None of them.
I thought Cincinnati could run it.
They're fine.
Mixon had a nice year last year.
You know, and can I ask you a question? When you get to December,
you're not going to win it being one-dimensional.
Hey, how about this? When you get to December
Yeah.
and January, and when you look at all them Super Bowls Tom Brady won, every year we've said these words. Tom Brady got the MVP, but it probably should have went to the running back.
Leonard Fournette was the reason they won that championship.
Fact.
Yes.
Leonard Fournette in the playoffs was
Yes.
a man-child down
Yes,
the stretch.
you know
got
why?
there,
You got to run.
and he was a
Bull.
beast.
You have to understand what running the football means. Running the football means you
I
are
understand,
dominating the
Leroy.
line of scrimmage.
I get it.
You can't do that. Here, let me get back to my
But the
point.
Rams didn't run the football
How
last
great
year at
is
all.
Aaron Rodgers? How great is Aaron Rodgers?
He's great. He's a Hall of Famer.
One Super Bowl. How great is Drew Brees?
Yeah.
Leroy, name me a
Even Peyton Manning.
Who's the last Hall of Fame running back? Give me all the great running backs in the league now haven't won any Super Bowls. None of them.
Let's see.
None of them.
We go
No, I don't even think it needs a great
Terrell
running back.
Davis.
Leroy, I don't even
That's-
think it has
that's
to be a
30
great
years
running
ago.
back. It has to be a team
No,
that is able to run the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
that's
the Rams
the
couldn't
point
run the ball at all last
look,
year. They were horrible.
A great team.
No, they were horrible.
A great team that runs the ball.
They were horrible.
But guess what?
I know. I don't need to look it up. I know they were horrible running the ball. Yeah.
Why did they win the Super Bowl?
The Rams won the.
Why did the Rams
won the Super Bowl? Because they had a good defense and a great passing game. They didn't win it because of running. They didn't run it all in the playoffs.
Wait,
they couldn't run the ball.
You ever notice it? We tend to overlook great defense, right? They won the Super Bowl because of their defense.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl because Aaron Donald was on their team.
That was obviously it played a role, but their passing game was phenomenal. Cooper Kupp had a record-breaking season. Matthew Stafford had an MVP caliber season.
Their defense had Jalen Ramsey. Their defense had Aaron
Their
Donald.
defense was good too. Agreed.
And Aaron Donald.
The Chiefs won the Super Bowl with a mediocre defense.
By the way, Aaron Donald is a generational. He might be the best defensive tackle.
I get it. I get it. Fine.
How did this become defense? What about
you guys trying to tell me you need to run? Now your argument's defense. I'm telling you.
No. What I'm saying
you just changed the argument.
No, I didn't change. I didn't change the argument.
The quarterback's the most important player.
To you. You're making it about quarterback and quarterback only.
I'm not making it about quarterback only. You said who. This all started when you said who is the most important player on the Browns. I didn't say he's the only important player, but if the Browns are going to win a Super Bowl, it's Deshaun Watson. And I love Nick Chubb, and he's great, and he's important. But he's not more important than Deshaun Watson. The Browns were never going to win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield, no matter how good Nick Chubb was, because the quarterback wasn't good enough. Now, if you have a great coach and you have a great defense, then you can get away with a quarterback that maybe is good and not elite. But you can't.
What's funny?
Go ahead.
You confuse having a good game with a great quarterback because before who's a quarterback for the Rams?
Stafford.
Before Stafford went to the Rams, he was considered a looter in a riot.
Right.
A what?
Right.
He was never
a looter in a riot.
Considered like a top 10 quarterback.
No,
right.
By unintelligent people, maybe, but the guy had been an excellent quarterback.
But what did his teams do?
Now all of a sudden, a guy
team
that went
sucked
0-16
around
all of a sudden is okay. Oh my God.
Okay,
What are
they
we
couldn't
doing?
overcome it.
I didn't say the quarterback is all that matters. I said it's the most important thing.
I would agree with that, too.
Yes, it is. Of course it is.
I just think you have to be able to run the ball.
The Rams could not run the ball.
By the way, Bull, here's the quandary the Browns are in.
Yeah.
Leroy, I'll get your thoughts on this. The Browns have built their offense to be a running offense. Not anymore.
That's why you can always
so
know.
You got an identity crisis.
And by the way, this whole thing is silly because pretty much every team is balanced.
Everybody's missing my point. This team, if they're going to be successful, they're going to have success throwing the football, but they're never going to be considered a passing team. They're always going to start and finish with Nick Chubb. That's the basis of this offense. So when it gets tough, when it gets to the end of games, when it gets to those pivotal situations, you know what the Browns need to do? Run the football. I'm not saying they're not going to be better because they have Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying that. But every team has a bread and butter. Your bread and butter can't be passing the football. There's too many things that can go wrong. And if you rely on your passing game and your passing game only, eventually it's going to bite you in the ass. You got to have something with 4 minutes left inside the 10 that you have to go to, and that's why Nick Chubb is the most important player.
And Leroy, you was around when this happened. Perfect case scenario. I used to love watching in the AFC Central the Houston Oilers with Warren Moon, Haywood Jeffries, Ernest Givens, all those guys. I was one of the games I saw with my own two eyes was I said, oh my goodness, they about to beat the Bills. They was up 35-7 or
35-3 at halftime.
35-3 at halftime. And you know what? That Lorenzo White little handoff draw ain't gonna get it done. They needed to hand the ball to somebody and take these boys out of here. And you know what happened?
And kill the clock.
Kill the clock.
And they went 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
You know why? You know why the run and shoot struggled? Bill Belichick would always say this. You know they didn't have a tight end on the roster?
Wow. Good Lord.
Think about that.
You're gonna
You talking
need
about
one.
Warren Moon and guess what? And Lorenzo White would run for 1,000,000 yards because they were so worried about that pass. Then December would come around.
Yep.
So I get what you're saying, Bull. I understand 100% what you're saying. But for this team goes as Nick Chubb goes, not as Deshaun Watson goes.
I think it's going to change for next year.
And I believe that because I've seen 3 or 4 years of Nick Chubb being the reason why the Browns have been successful or not. And I've also seen Deshaun Watson throw for 5,000 yards and they don't even make the playoffs.
They won 4 games.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Deshaun Watson's made the playoffs more than Nick Chubb has. So, and he's played less years.
But would he make it twice?
Yeah, Nick, in 3 years.
How many playoff wins does he have?
Okay, I mean,
no,
it's
I
in
mean,
3
but
years.
if you
How
like-
many
Wait,
playoff
Has
wins does
Chubb
Nick
made the
Chubb
playoffs
have?
twice?
No,
One?
Nick Chubb's only made the playoff once.
Yeah.
He's 1-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Watson's made it twice.
And
Twice.
he's 0-2 in the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
I-
he
I-
won a
I see what you're
playoff
saying.
game.
Did he win a playoff game?
Yeah, one.
And by the way,
So-
if you take,
And by the way, what does that prove, Jay? What is
but
your
here's
point?
the thing. If you take Nick Chubb, off of the Cleveland Browns,
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson had a better offense in a better complementary players than in Houston and won nothing.
A, that's not true. B, what's the point? Who wants to take Nick Chubb out of the offense?
Because
Nobody.
we're saying that he's
Nick Chubb is not more important than Deshaun Watson. Nobody could possibly believe
what
that.
we're saying is, if you
Whoa,
look at it,
whoa,
is
whoa. No
that
way.
to get Deshaun Watson to the highest level where he wants to go, and the reason he came here was he said, "I like that offense, I like that running game."
Let me make
and
this
it's
easy,
something
guys.
I can do.
Let me make this easy. Give it now. Who's an average running back in the NFL? Who's an average running back? Just a guy, decent back.
Kareem Hunt.
No,
I
he's.
think Najee. I think Najee's an average guy, to be honst.
Would you rather?
Dearness Johnson.
Okay. Would you rather have the? He's not. I'd say Najee's a better example. I think.
Yeah.
But let me just because he's a starter.
You gotta
we
have a
don't know.
starter, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Would you rather have Deshaun Watson, assuming he's back to the player he was, and Najee Harris, or would you rather have Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield on this team?
Well, no, just use Pittsburgh's quarterback.
Or Nick Chubb and Kenny Pickett? What would you rather have?
What's their records?
Exactly the same.
They have the worst quarterback and the worst running back. I don't know what your
But
point
it's the
is.
same.
They have
but
the same
same
record.
record as you.
Deshaun Watson's only played 2 games.
Nick Chubb's played all of
Then
them.
why are you making him the most important guy?
Yeah,
I don't understand. How does that prove that how does the Steelers record versus the Browns record
Leroy,
prove?
what would the
Jay,
equivalent-
do you believe Nick Chubb is more important to the Browns than Deshaun Watson?
No, I don't.
So then what are you arguing with me?
But what I'm saying is, here's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Here's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. And I think this is what Leroy's trying to get to.
yeah.
This team,
Yeah.
as it's been constructed over
Yeah.
the last 5 years offensively, is a team to run the football.
Right.
It just is.
It is.
It's a team. It's a running team.
Because they've had no choice.
That's what they built
let
it
me ask
for.
you-
If you
Bull,
don't draft
Bull,
They
Nick
had
Chubb,
no choice. They didn't have a
Bull.
quarterback.
you draft Nick
Bull.
Chubb for a reason.
Every team drafts a running back.
Yeah, but you take Nick Chubb in that spot because in this division, when you play in cold weather games in December
Yeah.
and it travels, you're going to need to run the ball.
Everybody wants to run the ball sometimes.
Well, okay, let me
I
ask
get
you
it.
this.
Yeah,
Let's just
yeah.
cut to the chase. In the last 4 years, as the Browns have constructed their offense, would
Yeah.
you say that they were trying to build a team that is a run team or a pass team?
I'd say they tried to build a team that I don't.
You're
I think
avoiding the question.
No,
You
I'm
know
gonna-
the
can I
answer to that.
answer?
You know the answer.
because explain to me exactly how they built them to be a run team.
They went and got Kareem Hunt in free agency. They drafted Nick
Well,
Chubb
not
in the
this
second
regime.
round.
This regime didn't
But
get
it's
him.
still the pieces and parts.
I
there.
said the last 4 years.
So you're
That
basing
does
it on the
include
talent they have at running back and nothing else, right? What
Bull.
else are you basing it
All right,
on?
let's go back to August
Can
when
you-
we were talking
Jedrick-
about what the Browns
Jedrick-
were.
I'm putting a
Jedrick
3-minute
Wills is a
warning on
top
this
10 pick.
conversation. There's
Good.
officially a 3-minute
Okay,
time.
going down that
limit.
rabbit
Move
hole.
on.
But now that they actually have an NFL quarterback,
Good job.
they haven't had an NFL quarterback. Now they do. So now they're going to transition to becoming more of a passing team.
Right. So the
Right.
problem with that, I think this is what
And every
Leroy's
team in
saying.
the NFL passes more than they runs, except for 2 or 3 teams.
I get that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, when we were talking about this team's strength in August, what are
Yeah.
we going to be? What are we going to do? We're going to be a run team.
Well,
Run
because
team. You got
we
Nick
knew-
Chubb. You got the best running
Because
back.
we knew Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play.
At one point, you had said you can't
Yeah.
stop Nick Chubb.
You
Can't stop him, no matter what you do.
Nobody can consistently stop him.
We've seen
Yeah.
him stop 3 of the last 4 games
Yeah.
pretty consistently.
Yeah.
You can scheme against what Nick Chubb does. You can.
So now you're on my side. I don't understand.
Well, I'm not on anybody's side. You think
So
that I'm saying trying to
what is
argue
the
your
point?
point.
I don't
What
know.
I'm saying
Yeah.
is and this is, I think, Leroy, this is where we can find common ground and wrap it up. I think in today's NFL, if you go in and you say, we're going to run it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to run it. We're going to be a run team. At some point, you're going to need to throw it, and it's not going to work being one.
Yeah.
If you say, we're going to throw it. We got Deshaun Watson now. To hell with our all-pro running back who could get 2,000 yards a season if we wanted.
Yeah.
To hell with him. Now we're going to sling it all over, even though we're not constructed that way. Now we're going to pass it because that's how you win in the NFL.
Hey,
You're not going to win.
My response to that would be, in general, nobody really does that. And so I don't think that's really an issue. However, 2 of the last 3 Super Bowl winners, the Chiefs and the Rams, did not run the ball at all, basically, in the playoffs, and had no running game to speak of. So
I thought the Chiefs ran the ball.
Chiefs ran the ball
Rams
well.
did not.
no, they didn't.
I thought the Chiefs ran the ball.
Edwards-Helaire? Yeah, they did.
Chiefs ran the ball.
Yeah, they did.
Edwards-Helaire sucks. He just got benched.
I don't even think he was on that team when they won the Super Bowl. Wrap it up is you got to do both. You've got to.
But
do
who's
both.
arguing against that?
And to Leroy's point, and this is where I agree with Leroy.
You got to have a foundation.
And this is the
You got to
old
have a
adage.
foundation.
What sets up the pass?
The run.
You do what
The run.
to set up
The run.
You
The run.
establish the run.
The run.
So to
Especially
Leroy's point,
Bull.
you better come
Especially
out
when-
tomorrow and you better establish that you can run the football. That will help your passing game. Always does.
Bull. The other thing is that, you know what? Sometimes it's the other guys on your team also. You don't have Randy Moss. You don't have Jamar Chase. You don't have guys blowing the top off of the defense that could catch. Let me say that. So you got to do things accordingly. You got to create space for, Coop and for DPJ. You got to create space for them. How do you create space? You create space by getting the eyes of the defense in the wrong place. So if they running the football, if you play action, if you do that, if you run the football, you can do play action. If you just drop back and pass it, now you're saying to your receivers, go get open.
Yeah.
Are they those type of receivers?
I hear you, Leroy.
So you got to play complementary
For the record, I
football.
never said they shouldn't be balanced or they shouldn't run the ball.
Right.
All I said was Deshaun Watson is the most important player on the team. That doesn't mean they shouldn't be balanced.
They've won without Deshaun Watson. They haven't won without Nick Chubb.
They haven't won games that mattered without Deshaun Watson.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they won 1 playoff game in 20 years.
Leroy, we got to let you
It's a
go.
fact.
We're going to do pre-written headlines, but enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll see you next week, right? You're on
Yep.
next week, right? All right. Well, wish you
Yep.
happy holidays.
I
and
see
Merry
you New
Christmas
Year's
then.
Eve.
See you, Leroy. Good argument.
Hey, you
Good
ain't gonna
debate.
see me,
Yeah,
right? You
by
ain't see
text,
me. You
I'ma
better
see you
You
something.
better handle them dogs.
I'ma see
You better handle them dogs before you start talking to me.
We got to get some dogs before we can handle them dogs.
Yeah.
Leroy, thanks, man.
All right,
Take care,
guys.
brother. Have a great
good one.
weekend.
All right, Leroy.
Have a great
All righty.
weekend. All right,
All right.
pre-written headlines. Who starts?
It is time, and Brad, you're going to lead us off here.
All right. Bring it up then. Stop playing with me. Browns pull a shocker.
How's it a shocker? You just said there's no excuse for them to lose. It can't be a shocker.
It's a shocker, right? It's a shocker. Like 4th and 1. It's a
Oh,
shocker.
I see. Okay, that's a shocker.
Stuns the Ravens, right? I'm looking for Deshaun Watson to take a leap in this game. I swear it's coming. I can see flashes of it.
Yeah, we
right?
saw it a little last week.
So I'm going to see it, right? And he's a guy that he don't want to be no down and dumb quarterback down here that's not getting it done. I'm looking for a good performance tomorrow. I really am.
That defense of the Ravens scares
I don't know.
me. It scares me. Go ahead, Bull.
G's up
see
next,
it.
actually.
Oh,
G's
G's
up
up
G,
next. Okay.
G, you're up next. 2023 Kool-Aid.
2023 Kool-Aid is alive and well.
Yeah.
It's not a Circle K. It's not a Circle K anymore. It's actually at Marathon. Check out your Marathon stations.
Circle K kicked you out.
Yeah, they say
Damn.
He ain't had no marathon.
What about a Wawa? A nice Wawa, maybe?
It's
Spirit of 76.
Wawa's in Maryland.
I was trying to-
look.
How about the Piggly Wiggly? Can we get something with Piggly Wiggly?
Look, he's an Exxon. That's where he is.
Sunoco. Hey, look, bro, look, I'm gonna just tell you, I feel like Deshaun Watson, because here's the thing, we talked about it yesterday. I think he has to be great. I think he got to be great for the Browns to win. I don't think it's gonna be a while before they get the pieces and parts. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna play with a certain type of offense, I need a certain type of weaponry out there. And right now we ain't got that weaponry. We got them old, them old Russian tanks.
You got some high top black cleats on.
We got them old. We marching doing parades with the huge. Don't use them big old missiles no more. We need some drones. We need some stealth game. We got big dudes, got tight ends and stuff. We gotta wait till next couple years to get something. So in
Got a
that case,
running team.
hey, well, you got it. We are. We're in transition.
That's how they built it.
We transit. Some of the plays is ugly. It looked like the old Jacoby playbook mixed with a few shotgun plays right now.
Well, good news, G. The Browns have elevated wide receiver Dalen Baldwin from the practice squad. Maybe he's the answer at wide receiver. Good old Dalen Baldwin.
I didn't even know he was on the roster.
Who's heard of Dalen Baldwin?
Never. Our receiver game is.
That's what we're down to.
Our receiver game.
All right, who's next? Me or
Jay,
Bull?
you are up next.
All right, I don't even remember mine. I don't even know why.
Wow, Jay picking the Browns to win.
Yeah, I know.
It's hopeful. This wishful.
These are all hoping.
These is wishes on the
These are
wishing
hoping
on the
prayers.
star.
I'm on a
hoping
little
prayers.
winning streak, though, of correctly picking the games, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be close. Here's my advice to Kevin Stefanski.
Okay.
Bro.
When you're in field goal range,
Take
the
them points.
use your kicker.
Take them. Hey.
Can you call up our season schedule?
The full one?
You had it earlier, yeah.
As in, like, the side panel of it? Or you want
Yeah.
Yeah, the side panel.
Yeah, we take the side panel, Steve.
The one that has all
It's
the
side
scores
panel.
on it.
Take the points.
bro.
Give us 1 second.
Take the point. It's been a 13-game experiment where we don't take the points.
Oh, my God.
And
And it's
Bull's
worked plenty of times. You only mention it when it doesn't work.
In the games where we've lost by 3, all of those we left 3 points on the field. What I'm saying is,
mischaracterization.
against the Jets, against the Falcons, against the Chargers, we left, and against the Ravens. Yeah. All 4 of those games, we lost by 3 points. There were times in those games where we were in makeable field goal range. I'm not talking 58 yards, where we left the points on the field. Screw analytics. Want to try an experiment? Let's experiment with the last 4 games. Let's coach like they coached this game for 75 years. When you're in field goal range and you have 3 points to put up on the scoreboard,
Put the points up.
take them.
Especially
Don't be cute.
Especially if you want to put your backup quarterback in. Especially if you get the urge. If you get
Yeah,
the urge.
on 4th and 1.
To 4th and 1, to go to Jacoby Brissett, just don't.
Now, I mentioned those 4 games, and we left 3 points on the field on all of those.
Yeah.
What in the...
It's true. Field goals are a guarantee.
Would you like to be... It's a much higher guarantee than what we've done this year. If you'd like... If you take those points, 3 of those were 2 points or 1 point. If you take the points and just turn those losses into wins, you're not 5 and 8.
You're talking about.
You're 9 and 4.
You can't say if they kick those field goals they won the game.
You can't, but I know how it turned out when we left the points on the field. We're 5 and 8.
Jay, you're playing traditional football. By
the way, you know who was the first coach to use analytics? You know who's the first coach to use analytics? Bill Belichick.
And you know what I heard
He's been doing it for 30 years.
Now listen, here's what I heard yesterday about analytics, the discussion about analytics.
Yeah.
They went overboard. Now, the general consensus is now they've leaned too heavily on analytics. We got to put gut in it. It's got to be a blend. And
Every time a play goes wrong, it's analytics' fault.
No, but every time
we all use analytics every day.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm just saying let's
this, right? We're talking about traditional football. Just play the odds sometime, right?
Yeah, the odds tell you to go for it. Yes. You just said play the odds, and the odds tell you to go for it.
He's setting up his point.
Can I set up my point?
Go ahead.
All right. Can I set up my point,
Yeah, go ahead.
please? Thank you. All right. So when we set up here and play traditional football, you're playing the odds. It's like the silly basketball here. Everybody launching threes. That ain't traditional basketball. No. That's not how you win. No. It might be sexy and sell you some seats, but that's not how you win. You win football games by being in the trenches, doing the things that need to be done. You got to run the ball. You got to pass the ball too, but you got to run the ball. You have to. You have to commit to something. We don't commit to nothing. You don't know what you're gonna do. I have never in my life seen somebody come out on a 4th and 1 and throw something in the end zone with a backup quarterback.
It's happened a million times.
I'm done with
Hold
that.
on.
I'm done with this.
Backup quarterback.
But I got to ask you, though, Bull.
Backup quarterback, I agree
got to
with
ask
you.
you something, man.
Yeah, that was the rub.
I got to ask you.
Yeah.
It seems that you advocate the Browns do things that the Bengals would never do.
Like what?
They would never take Joe Burrow out of the
I
game.
don't advocate that. I did agree putting the backup quarterback was the wrong call.
Also, during that game,
Yeah.
the Bengals are a very feisty team. They got one of them young coordinators too. But when they were down two of their top playmakers at receiver, there were multiple times where the Bengals said, you know what, we got to punt it away. We're not going for it. And the Browns got one of the worst defenses passing or running.
The Bengals punted away. The Bengals didn't pass up on a 4th and 1.
Yeah, it was 3 times they had
On a
that
4th and
down.
1?
Yeah, they
did. Sure.
Well, one of them, there was no way they were going to go for it. It was like on the
Kevin
32
Stefanski
yard
on
line.
4th down punts most of the
32
time.
What
I mean, let's not make it seem like he goes for it every single. He's gone for like 24th downs.
So
that's like one a game.
What we're saying is, look, he's not managed what he's had so far. Even when he has Jacoby Brissett, and he should be playing conservatively.
Gee, he's a horrible manager.
He is. It's just crazy.
He's horrible.
Guys,
he's a horrible manager of the
There
game.
have been games they've won when he's done the same thing, and when they go for it on 4th down and it works,
Look at his,
it never gets brought up.
Here, you have to look no further than his record. He's a horrible manager of the game. It can be true. It's okay.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Well, he's got a winning record overall.
No, he's 24 and 22 overall.
I mean, it's not great.
I believe.
Nobody said he was great, but he's got a winning record.
The silly things we do here, right? To Jay's point here, right? So you
bring up analytics because every coach uses them.
No, I'm bringing up this.
Except for Jeff Saturday. How's he doing?
I want to use analytics, by the way,
I'm bringing up the simplistics right here. You're in these close games, right? At some point, it should dawn on you that maybe I just stay traditional.
What are the Ravens-Browns games decided by?
Maybe.
What are they always decided by, guys?
What do you learn from your losses?
1, 2 points, 3 points.
Always. It's a field goal game when they play the Ravens.
But Jay,
take the points. That's all I'm saying.
At what point in any profession, when there's a lesson to be learned, you don't ever learn the lesson? He never learns the lesson.
Yeah, John Harbaugh learned that lesson. He lost 2 games in a row when he went for the points.
Yeah, he did.
And guess what? I don't know who wrote it. I read it a couple of weeks ago. There was a column about how Harbaugh leaning more on gut than analytics. It was after the 2 games in a row where they lost, where he went for the touchdowns. And I think John might have been. I don't want to speak for him. I don't know if he was being pushed by the front office to go heavily on analytics, but he's using his gut a lot more in his coaching. Here's what I'm saying about Kevin Stefanski and the Browns. We want these last 4 games we want to learn something. If you just go out there and keep doing what you're doing, you're not going to learn anything. We got to learn a lot of things. I've got a lot of question marks going forward. We know the way this team has operated this year.
Yeah.
We've gone for the 4th and 1s. We've gone for to move the sticks, to keep the drives going. We've lost 4 games by 3 points or less. What I'm saying is, let's try the last 4 games to coach as we used to coach. God, when guys used to go for it on 4th and 1 in the 90s, even in the 2000s, the broadcasters were like, what are they doing?
And that was stupid because they should have gone for it more often.
But
obviously.
They did it that way for 75 years. That's the way the game was coached. Now
there was a lot of things that happened for 75 years.
Madden.
So,
by the way, you know which team has gone for it on 4th down more than any other this year?
Who was that?
San Diego, maybe? San Diego does it a lot.
The Eagles.
Okay.
Okay,
So
what does that
Who's
mean?
the best team in football?
Because they've gone for it on 4th down.
Hold on, let me
right?
I'm not saying that's the reason. I'm saying
You're twisting numbers to suit your narrative.
No, I'm stating
that's
facts.
Misusing that, but that.
So
it is a fact. What you said is absolutely a fact, but it's not cause and effect.
Headline, by the way.
I didn't say it was cause and effect.
You led to the.
No, I didn't. And I'm clearly saying I'm not saying it's cause and effect.
Okay.
I'm saying they're the best team in football, and their choice often is to go for it on 4th down.
Right.
I'm not saying they're definitely winning because of that.
Well, guess
but
what?
That's what their choice
So
is.
here would be how you would properly.
You're making it seem like it's. You're making it seem like it's cause and effect. The Browns are not. You just said that the Browns would have a better record if they had kicked the field goals and all those opportunities. When you can't prove that cause and effect.
Here's what I said.
But you just said that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I said they could have won all of those games. They were.
Yes,
no,
and
is
they
this
could
a
have
fact?
lost them too.
Let me answer this question. Answer a series of questions for me. How many games have they lost by 3 points or less?
I don't know off the top of my head.
We just showed you. It's 4.
What is it? 4.
It's
okay.
4.
Yeah.
In all 4 of those games, they had opportunities to take 3 points.
Right.
And they passed, and they got nothing.
And weren't there? I don't remember the play-by-play of every game, but I'm sure there were times in those same games where they did go for it and they made it a 1st down or whatever, and maybe they scored a touchdown in those games. I can't remember now play-by-play of those games.
Right.
Where maybe it wouldn't have been a 3-point game had they not gone for it another time to make it closer.
Here's what I'm saying, why, and I think the league is catching up with this, and I think you're going to see less leaning on analytics, and here's why. You're taking a broad number that's league-wide. Now, there are cases where you take your team. But when you take a league-wide number of what you convert on 4th and 1,
I don't think anybody does that.
They use two numbers. There's that number, and they also use their own number. But here, there are so many things, Bull, that do not factor into that equation.
I think we should just drop it because you're not going to convince me.
No,
I'm not
we
gonna
got your
convince you.
headline. We still got Bull's headline.
Good.
Let's take Bull's headline. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bull's headline is Browns lean on analytics and win out the rest of the season.
Hey, the Patriots have done it for 30 years. Watson comes to life. Watson's 3 touchdowns lead Browns to upset of Ravens. That's a bad job out of me. It's not an upset because the Browns are favored.
No, but you know what?
But I think he's going to have a big game.
Bull, you said the same thing when Brad showed his. This is what scares me about this game.
Yeah.
Subconsciously in our minds, we are the underdog.
It feels like they're an underdog even though they're not.
The one thing I don't think
Because
we've
the
talked
Ravens
about
have a much better record.
I don't think we've talked enough about this week the Ravens defense.
Man, let me tell you something.
I don't think we've talked enough about that.
Hey Jay, I don't care what Vegas say. We're an underdog every time we hit the field.
It feels like it.
Yes, it does.
It feels
That's-
like it. In our minds.
That's a reception across the league.
And
here.
Bull proved it, and you
That's
proved
the
it. And
reception
if
across
we
the
win,
league.
I know by Vegas standards, it's not an upset. But this is not a game that I think we all expect us to
Nobody
win, even
here
though we
in
say
this town has confidence in this operation.
how could you?
They
You
don't.
can't.
So you're an underdog. You're playing beneath
Well, they're
yourself.
not, but there's no reason to have confidence.
If you go to
When you
Vegas and look at it,
Yeah, you can't have confidence in a team that's 5-8.
Your gut tells you that you're an underdog.
My gut tells me that their defense
Yeah,
is
you-
going to make it really, really difficult.
And that's why the Browns got to throw a lot because they're much better against the run.
Well,
Guys, I got a little bit of bad news.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Polk is stuck on a shoot for upstairs. He will not be able to come in.
we
I know
can
his
just argue
segment was
about
really good today.
analytics.
Do you want
It's
to tell
all
people
good.
what it was going to be, or should we?
Well, is it? And we really can't use it any other time.
We can't use it another week.
we can always talk about the
Yeah,
tournament.
go ahead, explain it. I thought it was funny.
I don't know more than what I told you, but he was going to come in as the ghost of Art Modell
Yeah.
and heckle the Ravens.
You shouldn't
the
have
Browns
spoiled
through
it.
that. Well, we can't use it till next year. By
That's
that point,
true.
we'll all
Well, let's
forget.
hear.
I do want to say, what's that, Brad? Before
Right.
we move on, I do want to remind everybody that after
Bad
the
shot.
game
Awful.
on Saturday, we're doing our 2-minute warning show. Even though it's a Saturday, we will still be there. Hopefully, Jeff Lloyd is back with us. It'll be me, G, Bull. Possibly Jeff, if his internet is up to speed. We will not let anyone on without elite
funny, isn't it?
internet connection. We hear you in the chat. We see you guys. We're trying to work with Jeff to improve that. We got a 2-minute warning show. That is free. If you do want to help out the show, we do have the membership opportunities. Starters tier, $1.99 a month. You get some custom emojis, which we're going to show you guys the new emojis that just came out
Ooh,
after
here we
I
go.
do this tease.
Oh.
For $4.99 a month, it's less than $60 a year. You get the overtime content, and you get to be a part of the community tab chat. When we end the show, the chat isn't over. People are still talking Cleveland sports on this community tab. Steve, let's take the iPad here if technology is going to work. And we had over 100 comments yesterday. We posted this just a few minutes ago. We got some comments going here today. We asked if the Browns are going to beat the Bengals, what will Deshaun's stat line look like? I'll read a couple real quick. Keyshawn Patel says 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 40 rushing
You mean
yards,
the
and a touchdown.
Ravens, Mike? Or is this before the Bengals game that you did this?
No, it's just a picture
he-
from the
he
Bengals
just
game because there's no
pointed it. He
picture.
just
Oh,
pointed
but you said if the Browns are going to beat the Bengals.
If the Browns beat the Ravens,
Okay,
excuse
I was
me.
just clarifying.
Jordan Tarman said 21 for 30, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Eddie, whose birthday's tomorrow, by the way, happy early birthday, Eddie.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh,
Happy
Eddie,
birthday
our
to
singer?
you.
Yeah, his birthday's
Happy
tomorrow.
birthday, dear Eddie. Happy birthday to you.
Good job.
There you go. And Eddie said 15 to 23 for 240 yards and a touchdown. The chat continues after the show on the community tab. You can only be part of that if you are a member, so make sure you check it out.
I think the general consensus on the panel, and I don't share this, but I think Brad, you said you did, and Bull, you've got him 3 touchdowns. I think you expect him to have a big game. I think in general, we're saying 2 games of rust was enough, and he's going to be Deshaun Watson tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That's what you guys said.
I'm not expecting him to, be peak.
3
but
touchdowns is peak.
But I'm expecting him to be close to it.
Wow.
Well,
I am.
I think we still got some bandwidth to grow, but I know this, right? When you've been always, because he's always been a guy that's won and had success, right?
Yeah.
You're not
Well, he hasn't always won.
Well, no,
but
I'm going back to
Yeah.
Clemson.
At Clemson,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm going to Clemson.
He was 4-12 in his last year, the
Right.
last full
So
season.
I'm not talking about him, but I'm saying this is your perception as an athlete.
Sure,
Right?
yeah.
So this is where his makeup comes in. He's like, I'm not staying down here. I don't want to be considered like that.
Yeah.
So every week it's going to get better.
So he's going to will himself back to
Every
his old-
week it's going to get better.
Go ahead, McNuggets.
So we got a few more things to fill Polk. We're going to do top 5 in a sec. But first, this was going to be something we did with Polk. Instead, we're going to make this what the internet says. We're going to do some internet comments and some emoji guesses from the internet, so we're going to combine them into one. But as always, when we tell you what the internet's saying, it's brought to us by PCC Airfoils. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We got 2 super chats I got to get in here real quick, and then we're going to play the emoji game if you guys remember that. But first, this one comes from Willie Moe. He says the Browns defense has no dogs. That's why our logo's an elf now. And then Charles T says they built this team.
That's good.
They built this team to be a passing team, Jay, around Baker. When they got OBJ, Jarvis, Hooper, yes, they had
completely
Chubb.
disagree with that.
Moves lead to 10. They are moving on. And then I saw one more, if I could find it in the chat real quick. It may have gone away, but it was our field goal's automatic now. We're talking about Cade York. This is from Charles T again. Yeah.
Yes.
Is Cade York automatic now because he's not even automatic from 35 yards this year? You guys are talking about a field goal
He's
kicker.
missed one kick
like he's tucking.
shorter than 35 yards this year.
So that is that. Now we're do the emoji game. We kind of played this once. There's only 2 today, but
Now, what are these? These are the new ones?
these are the new emojis. So we unlocked. Let's take tagboard full. This was by popular
Who makes
demand.
these, by the way? Where do these come from?
Tank. This is the Brad side-eye face that we've been trying to get in the emoji rotation. This is now available for members in the YouTube chat.
I feel like that needs a bubble that says that's some BS right there.
That was Brad after I said Kevin Stefanski's a good coach.
So we asked the internet.
Exactly.
We asked the internet what.
He's a good guy, I'm
Who
sure.
said what to make Brad make this face? We got 2 answers. I don't. If I click Steve, will it just go live?
I think he's a good coach, too.
This from Keith Williams. Someone said Baker Mayfield's a legit starting quarterback in the NFL. Brad?
Exactly.
He is the reigning NFC Offensive Player of the Week, and he will be starting Monday night against Green Bay.
And then one more for Brad. Someone said Maryland basketball is overrated.
That's right. That's right.
Maryland women's basketball
women's, yeah,
is
yeah,
overrated.
yeah.
How
Yeah,
are they doing, Brad? What's the record?
Terps are 9-3.
Very nice.
Yeah, 9-3.
And some big wins in there,
Beat
too.
3. They played 4 teams in the top 20. Number 1, number 5, number 6, and number 17, and won everyone except beating everybody except the number 1 team, South Carolina. So they got 3
And
wins.
that was a game.
Right. So, for a half.
They're going to make a run, won't they?
Oh, they're going to be all right. They're going to be all right.
And then we at 150, so we're not at 150 members yet. When we
But
get
that-
to
but
150,
Jay,
this next one gets unlocked. And Steve, let's take this. Yeah, there it goes. It's an angry Jason Lloyd.
I know what he's saying there.
So we asked, why is Jason so angry? We got a bunch of answers to this one. I picked my 3 favorites. First, from John Strouser. His friend LeBron didn't invite him to his house.
Y'all dirty. Y'all cats be
I know
really,
a John Strausser. I don't know if that's the same one I know or not.
Number
I
2.
don't think it is.
His wife said he can't buy a new luxury car this year.
But he did it anyway.
Did it anyway. That's from T-Mag. And number 3, constipation.
Show the picture again. This is the picture of constipation.
Is that the constipated Jason?
That's
So
pretty
those
bad.
emojis
That's
are now
pretty
available.
bad.
You got to be a member to get those emojis.
Very good.
The conversation goes on the community tab after
Gotta
the
eat
show. You
clean.
get overtime content. It's an absolute
Whoa,
bargain.
that's
How about
funny.
you just buy your family memberships? Memberships for the whole family. Great holiday present.
It
Cheap,
is.
too.
Yeah. I mean, for $60, you get the whole year of extra content. Are we done with that?
Yes.
Can I throw something out quickly?
You
Take 2
can. Then we
minutes?
got top 5.
Okay, quickly, because I think it's worth talking about. Baker Mayfield moves our needle for sure. I mentioned he's the reigning NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He's going to Green Bay this week to play Aaron Rodgers. Anybody want to venture a guess on which Baker we see and who wins that game?
He needs to be
We got
better
4.
than the
Hey,
last
we got
time.
4
The
minutes.
last-
We got to do top 5, so we
Okay.
get Tyvis into.
It'll be quick.
4 minutes.
The last time he was in Green Bay, he threw 4 picks.
Yes, he did.
Now this time,
And really ended the Browns
yeah,
season.
yeah. I need.
It was a year ago right now.
I want to see. It's good conversation.
I say,
If he throws for 3, if he throws
What
for
do you
300,
expect?
I
No fence riding. What do you expect?
I think he'll play well.
Good Baker.
I expect to see a good performance from Baker Mayfield. Let me just only for this sole reason. He's playing for his life now, right?
He is, yeah.
He's playing for his life now.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen Baker be bad almost every start for the last 2 years, so I'll say he goes 15 of 27, 113 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks.
Oh, that would be bad.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
bad.
I'm saying we get a better Baker than
I
that.
think he throws for about 285, 2 touchdowns,
285. What planet are you living on right now?
I mean, they're not going. You just
Because
said
he had 2 good
it's
drives,
a passing league.
but bailed out by penalties.
What I want to see is, and let's face it, his pieces there, he doesn't have any pieces there. He might have had more pieces in Carolina.
Even though Van Jefferson
No,
called
that's not a piece. That's not a piece. They're down to backups at every position. Logic will tell you he can't do it. Logic would tell you he couldn't have 2 75-yard touchdown drives in 4 minutes to win the game.
And he wouldn't have if he weren't bailed out by officials.
I wonder if Sean – I just want to see what he can do in a different offense with a different coordinator and a different coach.
Again, I will say this. The one thing I did notice, the humility after the game. Right?
Yeah.
Then I watched how his teammates reacted to him in that locker room
It was
and on
stunning.
the sideline. And I was like, if that's the dude that shows up, he may play.
Now,
He
here's the
may
thing.
perform.
We had that Baker for the Jets game when we broke our losing streak. Everybody was, I'll fight for this guy. I'll drink his blood. Wasn't it crazy?
His blood.
It was crazy. They were talking about this guy like we found our guy. We all thought. And then all of a sudden,
interview
things
with
went
the
south.
vampires.
And in Carolina, they went south even faster. When he came into Carolina, he had guys saying, hey, we're glad to have him.
Let me roll one of my grenades into the locker room.
10 games later, his ass is out of town.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't know.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Last question.
If he looked good with the Rams last 4 games, and Odell Beckham looked good the last whole year, what
It ain't a good look for
what does
Stefanski.
that say about Kevin Stefanski?
It's not a good look.
It's time for Top 5, guys.
It
Today's
says-
Top 5 is brought to us by
fair
Big
question.
Jack.
Fair
It's
question.
not-
Who is it brought to us by, Mike?
He didn't
Hey,
look.
Ultimate
Hold
Cleveland.
on,
Wait a
hold on.
second.
Hold on.
Wait a second.
We're doing it.
By the way,
we're doing an ad here.
I guess Baker never looked good as a Browns
We're doing an
quarterback.
ad
right?
here. We're doing an ad here.
Hey, Ultimate Cleveland Sports
Wait
Show
a
fans.
second.
Look
We're doing an
at
ad.
this.
We're paying the bills.
Wait a second.
Paying the
Rabbit
bills.
hole.
Wait a
Time out.
second.
Top 5.
Last comment. Did Baker ever look good with Kevin Stefanski?
Getting good at that.
Guys, did Baker Mayfield ever look good with Kevin Stefanski?
No, he sucked the whole time. He's terrible. He sucked. We got to get rid of him. He sucks. Baker sucks.
He looked good sometimes. He looked good sometimes. That's okay.
But we know Baker's not that good at football, so he won't play well now.
He sucks. He sucks.
The time has arrived, Ohio sports fans. Sports betting is going
Getting
live
good at
on
that.
January 1st. Download the BetJack app today so you'll be ready to go in on all the action. BetJack, it's Ohio's sportsbook. G, way to toss a grenade there with like.
He's getting really good at that.
G is getting good at knowing when we're up against the gun. Tyvis is sitting here watching. We'll bring Tyvis in at some point on this segment. So we talked about this 2 weeks ago,
Right.
and we said we'll do a top 5 of it. And
Yeah.
then we had it in the rundown like 4 times before today.
Okay.
Mike Polk can't be here. It's the perfect time. I do want to clarify.
Yeah.
This is the 5 most pretentious fan bases in sports.
Oh, I thought she was
Hey, if you-
Entitled. Sorry,
if-
entitled.
If you got, I'm going to come behind this glass.
Entitled. No. Listen. This is a good list.
I've got.
But this is not the 5 most. This is the number 1 in each of the 5 main sports because we thought there's too many
Oh,
when
I
we did
misread
it.
that. Okay.
So it's 1 per sport,
Okay.
and I want to see if you disagree with my number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
So
go.
you'll see the 5 next to it. It's not necessarily in order of who's most. or
Yeah.
least.
You
It's
doing
just-
them one at a time?
Yeah, we're gonna do one at a time.
Let's go.
So we'll start with the NBA. I
Okay.
think this one's pretty unanimous.
Yeah, no question.
It's Laker fans.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
By
There's no
far
question.
the
Yep.
most
Yeah.
entitled fans.
Celtics are
Lakers.
close.
They're close.
But the
They're
Lakers,
close.
for me are number 1.
But it's Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay. We all agree on that.
Yeah.
Well, next we go to the NFL.
Yeah.
I may be a little different than the totality.
You're gonna be different than the totality.
I
I think.
think you're gonna say the Cowboys.
I think that. I think they're the most entitled
and I
fan
think
base.
you're wrong. Let's take it.
Okay.
Now maybe it's they went to school in Boston. Patriot
No.
fans.
Well,
Nah.
in the
I know
last.
it's a little recency bias, but if they don't win 10 games and make the Super Bowl, it's a terrible season for them. The Cowboys haven't been
Yeah, but
good
you know what?
in 30 years.
Now that Tom Brady has left, that mentality is gone.
I don't
work with
agree.
a
I
Patriots
think
fan
Mike's
here.
right. They want to fire Belichick right now, a lot of fans.
Well, of course they do because they're below 500. I
no,
will
they're
say
not.
this.
They're above 500 with a terrible quarterback.
Well, when you say they want to fire, a Boston radio station
fans.
asked the question this week.
Yeah, but there's a lot of fans there that want him fired.
There's probably fans that want just 25 of the 32 coaches fired if you poll.
Sure.
If you're going to find fans, I want them fired. There are
But he's
folks
the
here
best
that want
coach
fans
of
fired.
all time.
But he's
I
Bill
think-
Belichick.
I'm
That's not a good
thinking
comparison.
totality.
Yeah.
I'm thinking totality. To me, it is the Cowboys. Every year, they're the Notre Dame of college football.
Yeah.
Every year, and the media takes the bait, too. Go back and look the last
about
10
them
years. How
Cowboys?
many media prognosticators had the Cowboys going to the playoffs? They've done squat.
But that's what I think from the fans. This is not
It's
media.
not the media, yeah.
The fans, and I know a lot of Cowboys fans living in Texas.
Well, they're America's team. I mean, they have the most fans.
But I think now they've been so bad for so long, and maybe in totality, they are more entitled totally, but
Look
I
at it
know
this way.
fans from Boston fans I went to school with who have never seen their team miss the playoffs
Who's on
last year.
Sunday? The league, I don't think anybody will argue this. The showcase game of the week every week for the last 10 years has been Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
The Cowboys own Sunday Night Football. They're on four times
that's
every
fair.
year.
That's
Right,
fair.
but that
times.
has nothing to do with what he's asking because it's about the fan base. They're popular. That's why it is.
They're popular, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is if there wasn't a general perception that they were going to be good, like if the Cowboys for the last 20 years had been the Browns, they would not be on Sunday Night Football every year.
But they have
But the
been.
fan base believes that we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And so does the media buys that hype too.
But the Cowboys have been relatively bad over the last 25
Not
years.
relatively bad. They've been awful.
And
No, not compared
add
to
up
the
their playoff-
Browns.
add
Not
up their
the-
playoff
No,
wins.
but they've been a decent team.
How
The Browns
many
have been
playoff
awful.
wins do the Cowboys and the Browns have in the last 25 years?
Ooh,
not
yeah, but
very
how many
many.
total
Dak,
wins?
I know Dak has one.
Yeah, but Jay, it's not. But total wins, it's not close between the Cowboys and
No,
Browns.
but
Yeah.
I judge success in the NFL by playoffs.
Agreed. But the Cowboys have been a decent team. The Browns
Brad,
have been
what
awful.
do you think? Who's more entitled? Patriots fans or Cowboys fans?
Cowboys.
Cowboys think they're the top team.
Every
I,
year.
I did a blog.
I think Cowboys
You said
fans are
since
more
99, Jay?
phonies.
Yeah, 25 years.
They have 3.
Okay. Well, what years were they?
18, 14, and 2009.
That's stunning. This is America's team. They play
Yeah,
on
they
the
always
showcase
they
games
are
of the league.
overrated by the media more than any other
Big
team.
time
No
overrated.
doubt.
But like
They
their
do-
fan base
they
just
call
thinks
themselves-
every year they should win the Super Bowl.
There's a hole.
And they're not even close. At least the Patriots won.
There was a hole in the stadium. So
God
God
could
can
watch.
watch us. Come on, bro. They got to be in the top 5. Easy.
All right, what's your next sport?
All right, next sport, college basketball. This one I thought was pretty easy.
Yeah.
It is the Dukies.
They might be number 1, dog. low
They
key.
might be number 1 if we did a full
Yeah.
ranking. Just like with the Patriots, and I guess the Cowboys in a sense, if they don't win, it's not their fault. Something else happened
Sure.
that took them off.
Refs, we got screwed.
Refs
We got
screwed. Coach
Yeah.
K's back was hurting.
Yeah.
Like 100
The
different
floor at North Carolina was sweating. They weren't mopping it up fast enough.
Brad, do you disagree?
Well, no, I'm thinking about I was thinking about because you say college basketball, there's 2 sides, right? Because I was watching some dispute over the weekend. The men, I would say Duke. Women, UConn.
Oh, no question.
Oh,
UConn.
women,
Oh,
UConn.
yeah,
UConn.
absolutely no question.
Maryland took them down. I mean, they started talking, well, you only beat us. I don't know why y'all was surprised. I mean, happy you won, and we didn't have all our players.
Yeah.
I like, really?
We only had 11 McDonald's
I thought
All-Americans.
you got all of McDonald's people.
Yeah, we should have 12 every year. Okay,
right.
then I guess baseball.
Baseball,
Again.
and this is what started it.
It's
It is
so
the
easy.
Yankees.
Yeah.
As a person born
I
out of
agree
Jersey.
with the Yankees.
And I think they're number 1.
Although I do think it's closer. I think the Red Sox are right up there.
I
Red
was
Sox
gonna
fans.
Red
say
Sox
that-
are up there, too.
I was gonna
But
say
the
Red
Yankees
Sox,
are the
too.
worst.
But
Because
again,
of-
it's like the Patriots. That's recent history. If you go back to before 2000,
Yeah.
the Patriots and the Red Sox were ass,
Yeah,
and their
they-
fans expected nothing.
Straight cheap.
Now,
But-
because they've won so much, now they
But
expect it every year.
who's on the up-and-coming list? Houston.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's
That's a good point, Brad. Really
Yes.
good point.
That's a really
They're
good
up
point.
and coming.
But for me, in terms of entitled fan base in all of sports, nothing comes close to those guys.
But,
Well,
but
so what? Hold on.
See, I
Nothing
think
comes
Notre
close to the
Dame's the
Yankees.
worst.
Notre Dame's up there, but
Hey, Notre Dame's
Well, and
still
Ohio
in the
State
discussion
fans are
for
bad,
next-
this is
too.
why when you're doing it by sport now, I don't know about between Notre Dame and Ohio State. I don't know.
Well,
It's close.
It is
so
close.
Don't take the answer yet, Steve. College football was the one we went back and forth
Yeah.
the most on. I texted it and I got the receipts. Like 30 people on my phone. We had a top 3, or a top 2. Jay, you're the one that told us to put Ohio State in the top 3.
Yes,
Ohio State,
but
was
I don't
3
think I
for
could
us.
put them ahead of Notre Dame.
And it came down to Notre Dame and Alabama for us. And we went back and forth in the production
Bama?
booth.
Bama?
I texted 30 people.
Local people or
No,
national?
just people I know.
You
Just
know,
people I
he's
know.
Wow. All right.
Wow,
And
that's
that-
quite-
I'm
this is-
surprised. I wouldn't have
it's a
thought
pretty good
Alabama.
sample size.
I'm serious. It came out 16-14.
Oh,
And then when you added our 3 votes in, we had 2-1. So it ended up the final poll was 18-15. Younger crowd, granted. We ended up going with Bama as the most entitled fan base. And the one thing that stood out was on the Big 10 championship game, Michigan-Purdue, the 10-minute speech from Nick Saban. I know it's the most recent thing in the world.
Yeah.
Of him saying we should be in the college football playoff because we're Alabama and they're not.
That was gross.
And that was and I know that's not the fans,
Yeah.
but you go on Twitter that night and everyone was echoing that same message. Notre Dame has the history. Bama's been so good recently that now I think they've surpassed them on the level of
yeah.
currently
you know,
we are the most entitled.
What's interesting to me is on all of these discussions, So the Yankees, the ones that we disputed, like the Yankees, you guys said, well, the Red Sox. The Cowboys, well, the Patriots. Yeah, even the Yankees, which I don't think there was much dispute on. What's funny to me is those are all teams that haven't won squat lately. Notre Dame has won nothing lately.
Right. Nothing.
The Yankees, for the amount of money they've spent.
They just got Carlos.
I know they did. For what they've spent and what they've won, you guys are losers. Losers. Okay, there's no other way to say it. No other way to say it. You're getting the best players, spending the most money. And you've got one World Series since the Derek Jeter days?
Since 09.
Like, that's abysmal. And even with Duke, like, Duke historically won everything. Yeah. Their dominance is gone. Now, Alabama, recently, I can imagine why the Alabama fan base would say they're entitled. But so for Alabama and the Red Sox and the Patriots, they're entitled now because their recent history says they've won a lot. But for the Yankees and the Cowboys and for Notre Dame, you guys are trash. Right. You guys are losers. You have not lived up to the hype. You haven't done it. And there's no other way to say it.
Brad, where do you fall in the Bama-Notre Dame debate?
I'm more so I'm closer to Notre Dame here, right?
Yeah.
So I see them more than I see the Bama folk, right? I'm not down in the South like that, but but I did see Saban's speech, and I said, "Are you serious? Are you?"
There's almost like a false entitlement, and then an earned entitlement, like the Red Sox and the Patriots and Bama. Those are earned entitlements because they've won every year. They expect to win every year.
When he was talking about basically like Vegas, if we would put the odds on it, the odds would be on Bama's favor. We beat everybody here. Everybody knows we were the favorite.
Yeah.
Like, no, you lost in the box.
Right, but a lot of the entitled Cowboys and Yankee fans came of age when the Cowboys won a lot,
right?
And the Yankees won a lot.
Don't you kind of? I mean, once upon a time when I was young, the Browns were good. I'm not entitled. I don't expect the Browns to win the Super Bowl every year.
No, but if you're a Yankee fan, you should expect them to win every year. They have a huge payroll,
and they got the yells lined up.
Here's why I can respect them. You know why I can respect them? All those teams. Yeah. Everybody you talked about.
High standards.
They'll do anything to win.
Yeah, high standards.
They only care about winning. That's it. They say we hate them because they do things that we know we would never do. Like we hate them, but we can't argue and knock the fact that it's successful. When you see the Yankees,
well, but the Yankees, yes, but the Cowboys haven't been successful.
The Lakers that had 5 of the best centers ever to play. How you get all of them? How you get all of them?
I know.
You look at the big cities, the Celtics and the Red Sox. They win championships. They go out and get the people, and they feel like this is what they're going to do. Like, those teams, Jerry Jones said, if my team ain't going to be good, I'm going to have the best stadium thing moving. I got Jerry's World. They do stuff that sometimes I wish my team would do.
Right.
I don't think Jerry Jones is a very good owner. I agree with you with the rest of the teams. But
what he's saying is...
But you're right that Jerry Jones does, in his mind, whatever he has to do.
Whatever.
How you doing?
He thinks he's helping.
He don't know what
he's doing decisions. He's hurting.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Tyvis, I see they got you in the closet today, Tyvis. They running around. Where you at?
So, yeah, downstairs is chaotic, man.
You done went old school with the hat.
Yeah, it was a throwback day. Flashback Fridays, what they call it. Brad, when that big game coming up for you, huh? Maryland and Indiana, ain't that coming up soon?
Nah, that's a couple weeks. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry. Oh, I'm gonna be locked in. Trust me. If it's over,
but I will tell you, Tyvis, I do have my eyes on those Buckeyes down there. They looking okay.
Oh, you bet. Hey, come on now. On now.
Now, Tyvis was in the chat.
I give him credit.
Hey, Brad, we doing it without our second score either.
That's right. We got 5 new transfers. Don't worry about it. We coming.
Tyvis, I saw you in the chat, Tyvis. We was talking about them old school days when you was playing ball, and you know how I get. Especially, was y'all on quarters or semesters? Because after a while, like the students will leave. You down there the whole time. It get real. Them scholarly checks start running out.
I started on quarters for because I went to Ohio State early, so when I first got there it was quarters. But at the end of that school year, it moved to semesters. So Yeah, man. You know, once them blocks run out, the meal plans, because you know when you in the dorms.
That's in the dorms.
Tyvis, real quick.
In the dorms, yeah.
Real quick. We got a chance against Georgia.
Do we got a chance? Yeah, we absolutely got a chance.
Tell Leroy.
Absolutely.
Text him later.
Yeah, absolutely is a chance. Leroy got on here and was talking about, their D line is twice the times of the team up north. Yeah, you're right, because you got Jalen Carter in the middle. So absolutely, that's going to be a struggle. But if you take that D line away, if they can find a way to manage that D line, skill for skill, athlete for athlete, I like the Buckeyes skill players over their DBs, so they got an absolute chance. It's just about and to be honest with you, when you watch the team up north game, it wasn't a physical thing. It wasn't at all. It was just some guys that blown assignments and missed some gaps. That ain't a physical thing. That's just mental and making sure you're doing your job. I think what happened in that game was that they were so amped up to play the team up north that they was trying to be aggressive rather than being smart, you know. And it was a chess match.
Is that why the one dude headbutted the other dude? Is that what?
Yeah, that pissed me off. Like do that during the play. Right. And I'm glad y'all brought up the Buckeyes, man. Y'all know it's this story floating around about the Buckeyes missed out on this 5-star kid because they said that Ohio State don't have the money in NIL to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all hear about this?
$750,000.
Yeah, $750,000 or something like that.
Are you going to dispute that story?
No, so I gotta call some couple people, make some phone calls to see what was going on, and according to my source, that wasn't the case. That kid just didn't want to come here to really be like that to begin with. But it is, and the NIL after hearing about it from my guy, it is much more complex. This transfer portal and this high school recruiting thing is different because one factor that I didn't think about, because that to me, obviously we wasn't getting paid, so it was like I'm gonna go to the spot that's gonna develop me and help me get to the NFL.
Right.
But you got to think about some of these kids' situations. Some of these kids aren't coming from rich. Yeah, so it's not the player thinking about the money, it's the parents. Like, oh, you going there because we need this money. They giving you this money, you gonna take it. So I never thought about how a mom and a dad could be a factor into the decision. Like they pretty much can make
the game, isn't it, Ty?
Yeah, it is. It's sad because some of these kids gonna go there for the money, and some of these deals are some of them are kind of guaranteed, but some of them are if you're playing or not. So if you sign to go there and you not playing because somebody's better than you, now you like I done made the wrong decision and you ain't even getting paid. So now your parents then forced you to make a decision and you can't even get the money. And then on top of that, after talking to my guy again, man, this ain't $100,000. Like if the deal is $100,000, that's not life-changing money. Like that's you not about to go in.
It can be for some, Ty. It can be for some.
Jay, your mom is not retiring because you got $100,000.
No, but you said life changing, and the reason I would disagree with that.
That's when I say life changing, that's what I mean. Your parents ain't retiring.
No, but
there's levels of life changing.
We can't pay the rent.
Right.
We're homeless.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got no groceries.
I hear that.
$100,000 in certain instances. I've read some horror stories about some of these kids that have felt like they've had to go to a specific school because of that reason. And then when you hear them explain how it's going to physically change not just their lives but their families' lives, I get it.
Well, here's the thing, right? Because it's the wild, wild west out here, right? I see why Michigan is saying Michigan doesn't participate in NIL like that, right?
Well, they're going to have to.
But they're going to be forced to make a decision.
Yeah, if you ignore this, you're going to get hit by the bus.
You would hope that there's opportunity for student athletes to be remunerated with the name and likeness out there in the public sphere, right?
Right.
There has to be some. I don't care. There has to be some caps on it so that it doesn't get wild.
Well,
it's wild.
I think everybody agrees on that.
I don't agree.
No, everybody agrees. Everybody agrees. The university presidents agree.
Of course they do, because they don't want to spend the money.
No, it's not coming out of their pocket. They can't contribute to that fund.
I'm not saying that
it can come out of their pocket if some of these businesses are giving the kids the money instead of advertising.
It's so wild.
No, wait a minute.
My kids
this is where the problem. Wait, this is where the
wild.
problem is occurring right here.
Go ahead,
to the fact now that they didn't say who. Like I was listening to the radio, and my boy Dave Fiddle was trying to explain some stuff, but they didn't exactly say the name.
Right.
But it was the Washington State's coach had came out and said basically like it's coaches that's for other teams around the college football that's contacting the players on his team saying, hey, you go into the portal, we got money for you. We'll take care of you.
Yes.
So that's where the problem is.
That's why it's wild with that.
So here's
every program does.
Here's the proactive nature to it.
Right.
I'm giving for any AD that want to know, for any president want to know, how do you get around this? How does it just stop being wild? Here's what you do. You tell every single player, if you come to Ohio State, you're gonna get 100,000 base regardless. I'm talking walk-ons too.
What?
Watch this. What?
There is some cool thought that's coming.
So I think this is fun. I'm gonna give everybody 100.
This where you lost me.
Watch this. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give you 100,000 base regardless. So then, what happens is if you a mid-tier player, you a 4-star, you a 5-star.
Right.
You sit at the table with your mom. You said, well, they offering the NIL over there for 750, but they gonna give us the 100 guaranteed. How that works is now you can say, well, look, that's guaranteed. That over there ain't guaranteed. Your coach can leave. You can be benched. They can take that. That's only a 1-year deal. If we gonna give you guaranteed,
What are you getting paid for?
So watch
Hold
this.
on. What are you getting paid for?
so
You're doing a job.
No, because some people. Let me be honest with you. Some people on your team couldn't play dead at a funeral. They don't need no money.
But if they got
but they
no,
need,
the barrier to entry was you got the scholarship.
But you need those guys to prepare your other people.
let me tell. And here's the counter to that. Right? When I'm out here busting it, right? You giving me nothing to help me. Nothing are you giving me.
We give you 100.
No. I'm saying when I'm out here getting this work in here, right? And you couldn't play dead at a funeral. What are you bringing to the table?
Brad, if you couldn't play dead at a funeral, you're not getting a scholarship to
No,
Ohio State.
Jay.
No, you're not.
No,
It's
Jay.
not.
It's almost like collective bargaining.
Tyvis, how many people have you played with that couldn't play dead at a funeral?
Bunch, actually. It's a lot more than you think.
Watch this. You know, Tyvis was actually, I got to tell you guys, I've read a lot about this. G. Bush is not far from where we're going, and here's why. It sounds like a lot of money. It's $8.5 million.
Out of their money, right? You got
utility players in baseball
Right.
that make double that. So Tyvis,
You know
the
what?
reason why that's not funny, and that's so. I think now what you left out was they're believing that that's going to be the base.
The base.
Now, that doesn't preclude you from getting more,
You can get more.
and getting an NIL deal to go somewhere else.
You're talking about collectively bargaining and laying it out for everybody.
Well,
that's what you're doing.
but
that's what
Brad,
you're doing.
as you
That's
know,
what we should
I'm
have.
talking
But
about.
Brad,
should
as you
But
know,
see,
we
Bulls
do.
are not doing that now.
No, but
and that's why it's wild.
But Brad, you're right. But the groundwork for the collectively bargained is already there. They've won a case. Northwestern, when the Northwestern quarterback sued and said, "Wait a minute, we can unionize because if I don't go to my job, which is being a football player, I lose my compensation. That's a job. We can unionize." So the groundwork for that is laid, and it's coming, guys. It's coming.
Because it would keep your 4-star and 5-star guys from saying, listen, if you're going to offer, and that's my guarantee, and I can still get better, then what it's going to say is, if you're Ohio State, you Michigan, anywhere else, Michigan has to play ball. They can't not come to the table. They would never get a
They all got the money to pay.
That's correct. They have to come to the table then.
So that brings me to
but
this
that
point.
requires leadership at the top.
Yes,
and
it
the
does.
problem is some of them cast on, some of them hierarchy, ADs, presidents, they're not buying it.
Well, Bowling Green, OU, no, and that's why what's coming is 2 tiers of football, probably more than that. It's nonsense right now that if you look at leagues, theoretically every team in the NFL can win a championship.
Right.
We know that doesn't happen, but can you say every team in college football in Division I, 123 of them, that they all can theoretically win?
No.
Of course not. So what's coming is classifications. You're going to have the Power 5,
Which is
and
good.
It is great.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. You're going to have the Power
It's gonna
5.
be the Power 2.
That it might be the Power 2.
Yep.
That's
Big
where we're
Ten
going.
and
Because
SEC.
right now it looks like the Big Ten and the SEC, and then everybody else, especially with the Pac-12 losing its two cornerstone members.
Go ahead, Tyvis. I feel like
that brings me to this because after that report came out about the recruit, that's when Gene Smith dropped the tweet talking about they need more people to donate to the NIL. And they were saying that if 150,000 Buckeye fans, which I know is way more than that, but if 150,000 Buckeye fans just give $10 a month for a year, that's $18 million right there. So that and Ryan Day said he wanted
here's what it reeks of to me, though, Tyvis. That reeks to me of, are you kidding me? Now the Ohio State University, which has gotten rich on the backs of people like you and Brad.
Absurd.
They're going to ask Joe Sixpack to volunteer $10 a month. When is the Sarah McLachlan music going to come in? And the poor, sad, hungry players sitting in the corner with nothing to eat?
Let me get
the
one more thing.
I'm going to give Ohio State $10 a month.
Jay, here, as a Buckeye, when I saw it, I was disgusted.
I'm disgusted.
I was like,
and I'm not an alum.
And I heard this from a couple of alums. They were like, are they serious?
Are they
Brad,
serious? Here's the sad thing. He was serious, and he doesn't even understand the absurdity of it.
Dead serious. They're dead serious. But let me get to one more thing before
if you could just give $10.
The clock is running out.
Go ahead.
Wait, Tyvis, you'll stick with us to the end of the show, real quick. Did Gene Smith say that?
Tweeted.
Gene Smith tweeted. Okay.
On Twitter.
That's disgraceful.
You can find it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I got to get to this last thing because this was the thing that happened yesterday. And y'all talked about it earlier, and I was watching, but I couldn't say anything about the DB coach and the passing game coordinator coming out saying,
what you think about that?
You know what I think about it? It leads me to believe. It took me back to when Jay had that conversation with Jim Donovan about, players need to be more smart. Could it be? Listen now, hold on. Could this be a thing? Could it be that the whole Cleveland Browns can't handle adjustments? Because if you think about it, outside of the first 15 plays on offense, they got to adjust after those first 15 plays. It's not that great. Defensively, there has never been an adjustment. Special teams, there's never been an adjustment. So could it be that these guys can't handle in-game adjustments?
All the evidence points to exactly what you said being true.
They're mad in coaching. It's on
I get
that
it's on coaches as well, but like maybe the reason that because I'll be dang you gonna go in the game and say we need to switch it. We ain't gonna switch it up. We just gonna do what we do.
Tyvis, could you imagine?
I've never heard of that.
Can you imagine Urban at Ohio State saying, "Well, clearly we lost in the national championship game because their number 2 and number 3 receivers went out of the game, and we weren't ready for that."
Wouldn't you?
Now enough of this press conference. I got to go bang an 18-year-old.
Oh Lord!
You stop doing that. Stop.
Hey, now
I'm the bad guy.
Hey, you know what?
Listen,
Just because
I don't think any of that was factually true. So yes.
Wait a minute.
Just say that.
He's grabbing her ass in a bar.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Fact.
That's true.
Hey,
alleged. It was all alleged.
Hey,
we saw the picture.
If that
and she wasn't 18.
If that would have happened, what would you say as a defensive back? Do you have any wherewithal as defensive? I know you played with Richard Sherman and them. Would they go up to the coach and be like, "Hey, bro, what we doing? Like, what is this?"
Who you talking about? Wait a minute. We talking about Richard?
Yeah. What's this?
Oh, Richard, back in the LOB days, if Chris Richard, who's now I think he's the DB coach at the Saints, if he calls something and it was like asinine and everybody on DB, Bobby would call something else and that whole defense would run something else. It's been time. I know I can remember a time when we were in San Francisco and Robert Saleh was the coach, and I can't remember who he was playing, but he called a call that was absolutely not great. And I remember as a defense, they was about to call something else, but they didn't do it. But they all came together and said, "We not about to run this." But at the end of the day, you got to do what the coaches say. But it was a point where players was like, "Listen, we gonna do our own thing," because that's a terrible call.
I wonder if that's going on with the Browns at all. I wouldn't doubt it.
Man, I don't. As a defensive back, Tyler, I just didn't understand how he said that Higgins and Boyd made it.
By the way, did you?
When I seen it.
Did you see Richard Sherman go off on the Raiders after they blew that last play against the Rams? Did you see
No,
that? Because
I
I
did
went
not.
back. I didn't see the game that Baker played, and I went back and watched it a couple of days later. And then I saw Richard Sherman on the post game.
You talking about they pressing?
Yeah, pressing on that
Yeah.
play made no sense.
Yeah,
Well, they did it the whole
that was
drive.
dumb.
They did it the whole
It was
drive.
dumb.
They've blown like
That was
4
a-
double-digit
it's
leads
a-
in the fourth quarter.
That's a young corner though. I think he only in his second or third year. in
And,
the
but
league,
you know
so.
what it is? But they exposed him. They knew that was where they were going to go. But I was,
I mean,
as I was watching it, I'm like, what are they doing? Why are
It
they
was
pressed?
obvious. If you go back and watch that last play, everybody's playing in 2-minute situations. Everybody plays loose coverage. Nobody presses in 2-minute situations. And when I seen that, I immediately said Baker going down to Van Jefferson.
And he
boom,
knew it
threw
too.
straight
He
to
knew
Van
it.
Jefferson.
And Tyvis, it wasn't just that play. It was multiple plays on both of those last 2 touchdown drives. Baker was just taking the candy that they were giving him. That's it.
See,
They
and
did
that's-
make it easy
That's
on
why,
him.
as a corner, that's why he got to get a vet in his ear. As a vet, you can do that. Show press, but on the snap, bail
Back
out. Now
out.
you done baited
Absolutely.
the quarterback to throw it. And now you throwing the jump ball. You
Yep.
pick it off. You in the game.
We've got 20 seconds to say goodbye. Go Browns. Watch the 2-minute show tomorrow. It comes on at the 2-minute warning of the Browns-Raven games. Tyvis, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace. No, tomorrow's Saturday. Well,
You're
we'll see
right.
you tomorrow on the post.
That was the fastest wrap-up in the history of the show.
Right,
Is it not?
right.
We still have 10 seconds.
Ah,
See you on overtime.
McNutt.